means money pit, and motivated sellers, well, that means the honeymoon is probably over for them. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if the house needs a little TLC, you should probably pack your hazmat suit. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman and Company. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game 7. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Caroline Fenton is here today. Hello, Caroline. Outstanding. Let me turn your mic on. That probably be a pretty good idea.
Hello, how we doing?
Outstanding. I should have thought about that ahead of time. I guess I didn't. But, you know, it is what it is. Ian's here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
One more sleep until Thursday night football, Titans and Packers, and I think this is like a playoff game. It's just such a big game. I'm just so excited for the game. I'm just so happy about Titans-Packers Thursday night tomorrow. But yesterday, I listened to every possible press conference there was. I listened to the Titans press conferences. I listened to the Packers press conferences, which meant that I listened to people ask Aaron Rodgers about 8 minutes worth of questions on grass fields or turf fields, which I do not care about.
Appreciate those hard-hitting questions.
I mean, I could not give two poops about that. And then I listened to Todd Downing. And I think we can all agree we are all unhappy with the offense. Fair?
I think that is fair.
Okay. Todd Downing was talking about, he was asked a question about why they didn't run the ball more against the Broncos, which, let me say for starters, I really didn't have a problem with them not running the ball more against the Broncos. They ran it 19 times. They really didn't get anything off of it.
They couldn't get much out of it.
The Broncos are the number 2 defense in the NFL. Like, let's give a little credit to the other guy here for a second. The Broncos are the number 2 defense. They're number 1 in points. They were number 2 entering last week. Now they're number 1. But I think we can all agree we're not happy with the offense. So Todd Downing was asked about why they didn't run the ball more. And Todd Downing, just like he did with the thing about these guys with these press conferences, I've realized, and Aaron Rodgers is the epitome of this, but if these guys have something they want to get off their chest, you don't even have to ask about it. You can ask, so what do you think about the right guard? And if they want to get something about the wide receiver off their chest, they're going to get it off their chest. And Todd Downing started talking about the meat on the bone that he felt the offense left out there on Sunday.
You know, I thought we did some good things. I thought we also left some stuff on the table, you know, and I think that as we get back into the flow of things, getting Traylon back, getting Ryan back, you know, building that chemistry and that expectation where guys are going to be, you know, I think we took a step in the right direction in some areas, but we left some meat on the bone as well.
Where were those areas that you felt like, okay, there could have been more there?
Yeah, I thought we had some ops on third down that we missed. You know, a couple opportunities to move the chains and sustain drives and get into more plays. And, you know, for a variety of reasons, we just didn't convert at the rate that we expected to.
Okay, so Todd Downing was mad at the third down offense, right?
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
Remember after the Buffalo game when we parsed his words and we were like, is Todd Downing blaming the players? And it felt like he was.
It was about execution
rather
than play calling.
Yes.
And then Mike Vrabel turns around a couple weeks later and says it's players, not plays.
Yes. So Todd Downing, again, asked why they didn't run it more. Said, you know, we didn't really extend drives. We felt like we left some things out there. What'd you leave out there? Third down. So with that last night, I heard that last night after the Predators game, and I decided, you know what? Let's check them. Because remember, Todd Downing a couple weeks ago, they ran that stupid handoff from Malik and fumbled the ball, and Todd Downing said, if you watch the tape, it would have been a huge gain. And we watched the tape, and DeForest Buckner would have decapitated Malik Willis. So we know that's not true. So we got to check Todd Downing because we can't trust him. So last night after the Predators game, I decided to enter Jared's film room.
You are now entering Jared's film room.
So I went to the third downs. They had 16 third downs. They converted 6 of them. So 6 of them, good, whatever, don't. So then I decided I'd watch each one, write down what I thought, and then put whether or not I thought there was meat on the bone or no meat on the bone. So was there a play to be made and the Titans messed it up, or was there really nothing there that, Denver played good defense and can't blame them? So of the 10 non-third downs that they didn't convert, only one of them I put no meat. That was the second one. Tannehill rolled to the right. He threw it incomplete on the sideline for Westbrook-Akine. He wasn't open, but there was nobody open unless Tannehill was going to turn around and throw it to the other side of the field, which you just don't ask quarterbacks to do. So there was one where the Broncos defended it well. Every other single one, there was somebody who screwed up. So, let's go over the screw-ups.
Okay.
Number 1, Jeff Swaim drops the ball on third down. Jeff Swaim would have been able to run for 15 yards up the field, maybe 20, who knows, and he dropped the ball on third down. But when I decided, okay, there's meat on the bone there because Swaim dropped it, well, whose fault's that? I mean, I think we can blame Todd Downing for Swaim dropping the ball because if they had put one of the other tight ends in the game, like Okonkwo or like Austin Hooper, they probably would have caught the ball.
And I struggle with that because part of me wants to say, well, that's Jeff Swaim's job to catch that ball.
Sure.
It hit him right in the hands. He has to catch that ball. But also part of me is like, Todd Downing, Jeff Swaim cannot catch a ball to save his life.
No, the only thing he can do is catch it and fall
down.
That's it.
And he wasn't even past the sticks on that play, I don't believe.
I mean, you keep putting that crap bum out there, that you're going to get that.
But I have to place the blame on Jeff Swaim there.
So I put it on both.
I don't care if he's bad.
I put it on both of them, Downing/Swaim. And I think they're equally culpable. Number 2, no meat. Number 3.
Is this the one that I'm thinking at 3rd and 7?
The one where Burks and Hilliard ran to the same spot?
Yep.
So I put
Or
everybody
Burks played
screwed
defense.
up. So I put everybody screwed up. In fact, in my notes, I put everyone screwed up. Tannehill has an easy 25-yard gain to Woods, but he has to anticipate it. Burks drops the ball, runs to the same spot as Hilliard, and I think Tannehill was throwing to Hilliard. What a mess.
What was Treylon Burks doing? And it didn't even look like he was running to catch the ball. It looked like he was running to bat it away from Hilliard.
I don't know what was going on there.
I don't either.
So I put everybody screwed up. Well, if everybody screws up, whose fault's that?
The coach.
The coach. Okay. So 2 for Downing. 3, Tannehill threw the ball too late for Robert Woods. That's on Tannehill. 5, Ben Jones. I mean, there was one where Tannehill threw it high for Hooper and it was incomplete, but Ben Jones got turnstiled. Guys, defensive tackles coming right for Tannehill. Tannehill just throws the ball. There wasn't really anything open. It was going to develop or whatever, but Ben Jones just got freaking turnstiled there. That doesn't mean Ben Jones is a bad player. It doesn't, but he missed his block. Okay, so that one's not Downing's fault. 6, I don't know what they were doing on this play, and this is why I'm going to blame Downing for this one. So give another one to Downing. For some reason, they ran a play where Cody Hollister had to block an outside linebacker.
That's what I have on my notes. Bad block, Hollister.
For some reason, Cody Hollister tried to chip an outside linebacker, and I don't know if the communication was Dennis Daly was supposed to then block him after Hollister chipped him, but the way the play looked was that they had set up Cody Hollister, and we know Todd Downing freaking loves Cody Hollister, that they had tried to have Cody Hollister block an outside linebacker. Now, I had never heard.
Jared, he's the best blocking receiver on the team.
I know. I had never, let's put him at right guard. I've never heard of this outside linebacker that was out there that ended up, he wasn't the one who made the sack, but he was the one that got there to Tannehill first. And I think it was like Nick Bonito, so it's kind of like Nick Bonito. I've never heard of this guy before. Never heard of him. Doesn't matter. He's an outside linebacker. That would be like asking a wide receiver to block Rashad Weaver. Think about that. That is so dumb. So I have to blame the coach for that, right?
Yeah.
Downing.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, what do you want Hollister to do realistically there?
Nothing. I don't even want him on the team.
Well,
which shows you how I feel about that.
Okay.
7, Dennis Daly didn't block his guy. 8, Robert Woods dropped the ball. 9, Downing for the Malik Willis fumble play call.
Yeah, that's
Even
Downing.
though Malik would have run. Malik stinks. Everybody knows it. Malik's uncomfortable. He doesn't read the RPOs right anyways. You know this from the games that he's got experience. You put him in the game just like the Swaim drop. You put Swaim in the game, so when Swaim fails, it's your fault. When Malik fails, it's your fault because he should have never been in the game. Downing.
That's all on Downing.
10, Tannehill misses a wide open. Burks throws the ball into double coverage in the end zone and tries to give me a heart attack. So, based off of that, Downing, Tannehill, Jones, Downing, Daly, Woods, Downing, Tannehill.
So that's about like 50% Downing.
But do you think Downing is mad at Downing for the things I'm mad at Downing for?
No.
Because he blames Malik, and he blames Swaim, and he blames
Tannehill.
Whoever
and he
ran
blames
the wrong
Robert
route,
Woods.
Whoever ran the wrong route on the one where everybody ran to the same place. It's like,
That's on Traylon Burks.
Is it? You don't know if Traylon ran the right route?
But just looking at it, did it look like Traylon Burks was supposed to be there?
So, like I said, everybody screwed up on that play. I mean, Tannehill needs to look before he throws the ball. Robert Woods was coming open, and that's another thing, by the way, that is pretty obvious from watching this tape, is Tannehill and Robert Woods are not on the same page. Like, there is definitely a disconnect between Tannehill and Robert Woods. Because there were a couple where Robert Woods is coming open, and Tannehill is, like, waiting for him to get open to throw it, and you really can't do that in the NFL. Mm-hmm. You've got to be, you've got to throw the guy open. You got to know, like, okay, he's going to cross it at 9 yards, and then when he cuts, the ball's got to come out. And, Tannehill had one where they threw an incompletion on third down. He just threw it too late to Woods. And so as the ball was there, the defender was there, whereas if he throws it earlier, he would have caught it for a first down. But then Woods had one where Tannehill sunk it in there perfectly, and Woods just dropped it. So Tannehill and Woods got to get their issues figured out, but that's not about this. The thing is that Downing probably blames Swaim for the drop. He probably blames whoever ran the wrong route, probably Burks. He blames whoever that is for the one where everybody screwed up. He probably blames Cody Hollister for not being able to block an outside linebacker.
Which is so unfair.
He probably blames Malik for fumbling the football. And so he probably looks at these when he talks about the meat on the bone, and he looks at them like, yeah, what am I supposed to do? We draw up a play, and the tight end is wide open, and we throw the ball to the tight end, and he drops it on third down, and now we can't continue the drive. And now everybody's mad at me, and they're booing us off the field, and everyone's mad at me for not running Derrick Henry more. What did I do wrong? And the answer is stop throwing to the bum tight end. Stop putting Cody Hollister in the game. If you throw that ball to Hooper and Hooper drops it, everybody's going to blame Hooper. If you throw the ball to Okonkwo and Okonkwo drops it, everybody will blame Okonkwo. If you throw the ball to Swaim and he drops it, it's your fault because he sucks. If Tannehill runs an RPO and he fumbles the ball on third and short,
that's on Tannehill.
Everybody will be mad at Tannehill. If Malik does it, everybody's mad at you because that's stupid. So I guess it's a long-winded way of saying that I decided to double-check Todd Downing because Todd Downing's podium appearances have, in the past, led us to believe that he may not always be truthful. And so I went and I went and watched it, and honest to God, I'm more mad at Downing now than I was before. But I do see his point. And they did screw things up that weren't his fault. Robert Woods dropping a ball that would have been a first down, or Tannehill throwing the ball too late, or Tannehill, again, the throw at the end before the field goal that made it 17-10. The Titans, now Denver's using their timeouts, and Tannehill, he just stared that down, double coverage in the end zone, threw it in the back, and Traylon Burks is standing wide open.
Right there.
And honestly, when I saw the bigger footage, there's probably a pretty good chance Burks cuts that up and runs it into the end zone for a touchdown.
It did look like he had an open lane.
So he definitely gets the first down, and if you get the first down, now you're kicking a field goal with 28 seconds left. But also, Burks probably scores a touchdown. So it's a long-winded way of saying, yes, Todd Downing's right. There was meat on the bone. It's also my long-winded way of saying a lot of that's his own doing, and he needs to stop that. He needs to stop putting in the bad players. Stop. Just take the good players, and if you need a third tight end, put Swaim in the game. If it's 4th and 1 at the 18-yard line and everybody in the world knows you're giving it to Derrick Henry, put Swaim in the game. If you're trying to run a passing play, don't put Swaim in the game. If it's 1st and 10 and the defense doesn't know what play it might be, don't put Swaim in the game. Tomorrow, under no circumstances, do you put Malik Willis in the game unless Ryan Tannehill gets knocked out of the game. That's it. Not pray. That's it. Your thoughts. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. How much of this is on Downing? And how much of it is on the actual players not making the plays? I think that's a fair question. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, those are my guys. Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays, and they are celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. Hiller wants to make sure that every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year, and they're donating $50 in toys to Toys for Tots with every single tankless water heater purchase. And they're giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $50 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems or a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. More deals are online at happyhiller.com. And as always, Happy You'll Be or the service is free. These deals are only available until the end of the year, so schedule today. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. My guys, proud supporters of the Preds and happy about that win last night. Proud supporters of the Vols and happy about being ranked 5th in the country. And proud supporters of Vandy. Big win for Vandy against Kentucky on Saturday. Hiller's happy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's week 11, folks. NFL season. You can start off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Doesn't matter if you're new or if you have an account. You're going to get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. Same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. This one is the big one. Titans at Packers, of heavy local interest here. I think A.J. Dillon, anytime TD, might be something I'd do on a parlay. I think I'd go under on the Aaron Rodgers passing yards, and I think I'd go Derrick Henry with anytime TD too. I think it's going to be one of those run-the-ball, play-defense kind of games in Lambeau. Build your own, or you can choose one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, bet it Thursday with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Sign up with promo code JONA2 if you don't have an account. If you do, you're all set. See what you got. Every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum dollar bet required. Refund issues now. Double free bets expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbet.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
You've talked in the past about, being dedicated to the run and dictating to the defense how things are going to go. Is it tough to, how do you balance that as opposed to down and distance and just that equation itself?
I think you need to take multiple things into account. There were some things in the passing game that once we saw how they were playing with a couple personnel groupings, we thought, we'd have a couple opportunities there. And so taking advantage of those opportunities we felt was our best way of moving the football. And, I think we did some good things in the pass game. As I said earlier, I just think we left a little bit of meat on the bone.
There you go, Todd Downing. Again, his press conference yesterday, Todd Downing wants everybody to know that, we had opportunities and we just didn't make them. Fair?
Fair.
Multiple times going out of his way to say, we just had some meat on the bone. And some of these he's right about. I keep thinking about this game tomorrow night. And I feel like this is a playoff game. And let me tell you why I feel like it's a playoff game. Because it's going to have a playoff-like audience. Even though it's on Amazon and not everybody has Amazon, though everybody I know has Amazon, not everybody has Amazon. Now, here, it'll be on Channel 5, so people can watch it on Channel 5. Mm-hmm. But across the country, you have to have Amazon to be able to watch this game.
But I would say probably a majority of the population has Amazon.
I don't think so.
Maybe I'm just in my 20s.
But it's going to be like if Amazon's doing like $8 million for a game or something like that, this is going to do like 11 because it's Aaron Rodgers. Right. I mean, the Packers-Cowboy
there have been
ratings.
some pretty crap games on Thursday Night Football.
Oh, yeah, like last week.
Yes.
But Aaron Rodgers, the Packers-Cowboy game did like the biggest ratings of the year.
Well, that's the Packers and the Cowboys.
And it went to overtime.
Yes.
But, Green Bay, it feels like Green Bay has to win this game, right? If they lose, the best they can do is 10-7. And they still have to play Minnesota again, and they have to play Miami at Miami. And the Packers are, in my opinion, probably donezo if they lose this game to the Titans at home tomorrow. So Green Bay is going to give it everything they've got. Now, I've never been to Lambeau Field before, my first experience tomorrow, but I got to feel like there's a certain level of lore.
Oh,
with
absolutely.
Lambeau Field at night,
Thursday
in the cold,
night football.
Right. So they're going to have like a playoff-like audience. It's a playoff-like TV window. It's a playoff-like game for the Packers because they're probably out of the playoffs if they don't win this game. And so, to me, for the Titans, there's a lot of, hey, you done a nice job beating Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan, but now you're playing Aaron Rodgers. You did a nice job coming close against Patrick Mahomes, but you didn't win. And now it's Aaron Rodgers. And so I look at Downing and I'm like, is he ready for this? Or is it that Downing's right and it's all these other guys screwing up and we can't blame him for calling a play where Tannehill puts the ball right there in Robert Woods' arms and Robert Woods drops it? Or we can't blame him when Treylon Burks is wide open and Tannehill just throws the ball into double coverage in the end zone. And we can't blame him on, 3rd down and 3 when they run a draw for Dontrell Hilliard and Dennis Daly just doesn't block his man fast enough. So I guess I'm kind of torn between the two, but there's a part of me that's like, dude, you're the offensive coach. There is no more excuse making. You're 32nd in the league. The offense sucked last year. It sucks this year. You're playing Green Bay. Green Bay's defense is suspect, especially against the run. No more excuses. I don't care if the center has a concussion and the center's out. No, I don't care. Green Bay, the Cowboys scored 28 points the other day, and Dak Prescott just gifted them 2 interceptions. And Mike McCarthy's just going for it on every 4th down. No. The offense needs to be better. So I guess I'm a little torn on how we should all feel about Todd Downing right now. I mean, that I think that he stinks, but I do kind of – his claims of it not being his fault, some of that does add up. But it's still his fault 50% of the time.
But the fact of him saying it's not his fault, not saying that explicitly, but implying that, hey, it's not my fault, that alone makes me mad. Whether that's a true or false statement, and it's half true, because I don't think you can put any sort of the offense on one person, and I think that's a blanket statement for just football in general. It's never usually just one person's fault. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he even said, hey, well, hey, it's not on me. I'm doing what I'm doing my job.
So
that frustrates me.
Yes and no. I mean, the questions were basically about why Derrick Henry didn't run more. You know,
and I think it's pretty obvious why Derrick Henry didn't run more because he couldn't.
Because they
were stopping Derrick Henry.
Well, think about it like
that
this.
was the game plan for Denver. I have to believe.
So we went over the third downs, and on 9 of them, the Titans screwed up. The 9 of the 10 that they didn't get. Mm-hmm. The one was that Tannehill threw the ball incomplete for Westbrook Akine. That was good defense by Denver. So the Titans screwed up 9 of those 10. Well, let's say the Titans, and I'm sure every game teams are going to screw things up, and guys are going to drop passes, and guys are going to miss blocks. And let's just say the Titans don't screw up half of those. So instead of 9, it's 4. And so the Titans convert 5 of those. Well, that's probably what? Another 9 carries for Derrick?
Probably.
So now you're talking about 28 carries?
And that's a lot.
And so that's Downing's point, is people are like, you only ran him 19 times. Why'd you only run him 19 times? Well, we screwed up on third down a bunch. And he is right about that. But again, when Jeff Swaim drops the ball, to me, that's your fault. Because you shouldn't be playing Jeff Swaim because he's not good. And you do have good tight ends on your team. At least one good tight end. And then everybody except for me has been banging the drum that they need to get Okonkwo the ball more. There's like this whole, Chig Okonkwo needs the ball. And the one thing that I think I struggle with is I wonder if he is not doing a great job of picking everything up, which happens a lot with rookies. Mm-hmm. And so there's only 4 or 5 specific things they can tell him to do. And he learns those 4 or 5 things, but he can't just look at it and then run out on the field and do it. And I'm just making an assumption here. But I do think that they would play Okonkwo more given what we've seen because he's got some explosive play in him and nobody else does. So I think they're bringing him along. So I'm okay with that. But I'm not okay with Swaim in the game. Not when you could throw it to Hooper or when you could throw it to Okonkwo. And that throw, again, in which Tannehill, put it out in front of Swaim a little bit. But if Okonkwo catches that ball, he might run that thing into the end zone.
40-plus yards.
He might run into the end zone for a touchdown. So that is, long-winded way of saying I just kind of feel both sides here. But I don't want to both sides.
And I understand what he's saying. I get it. I understand. But it is frustrating nonetheless.
615-737-1025. Let's get into your phone. 615-737-1025. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
John in Nashville texts in and says, but my thing is, as good as Tannehill is, he cannot miss Burks wide open.
So Tannehill Tannehill threw the ball. To me, I agree with you. He can't miss Burks wide open. And there's some other ones where he had some guys open and he was looking at one receiver. But I just think that's kind of the NFL sometimes. I still can't get over the Raven playoff game 2 years ago. There was a 3rd and 2. And both Raven defenders, they basically ran a rub route with Jonnu Smith and Cam Batson, and both Raven defenders went with Jonnu Smith, as they should have. And Cam Batson was just standing wide open in the middle of the field. And it's like, babe,
he's open.
You got to look. You got to look sometimes before you throw. And I do feel like Tannehill, I felt like he struggled with that a little bit. My bigger issue, though, with Tannehill is him and Robert Woods. They're not on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Something's off with that.
I wonder if it was the interception that Tannehill threw against the Raiders. I told you all that I was at the game when that happened. And as soon as Tannehill threw it, he ran right over to Woods, and they were talking on the sideline before they even approached the bench. Like, on the field, they were talking. Mm-hmm. And so, obviously, Woods didn't do what Tannehill thought he was going to do. And there's just been a couple of occasions where, Woods has dropped the ball. He dropped 2 of them against Washington. He dropped the one last week. It feels like they just don't have any chemistry.
And I do wonder, too, how much of that is Robert Woods still might not be 100%.
I don't think that's it, because there was one where Tannehill threw the ball against the Broncos where I think it was the one where everybody screwed up, where Burks and Hilliard ran to the same spot.
Right.
And in it, Woods is open, but he's not looking for the ball. But where
right,
and he's just going to put it there, and then Woods is going to be running to it when he puts it there. And so I don't think that's a knee injury thing. I just think it's a Tannehill just doesn't trust him thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like what they always tell these college quarterbacks, that in college, you wait for the guy to get open and then you throw the ball. In the NFL,
you got to put it there.
Anticipate that the guy is going to be open. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. I promise I'm not a Tannehill hater. I promise this. But there is something that is really starting to bother me about tomorrow's game, and it was only because of what the local media said. So we'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Caroline, what's to tell you about the Caesar Sportsbook app?
It's time for the Caesar Sportsbook Report. And before we get into the odds, remember that your first bet is on Caesars up to $1,250. So Caesars has got you covered, as always. Just download the app and use the promo code RadioFull, one word, RadioFull, and then wager. And if you win, then congratulations. But if not, don't worry about it because you'll get that stake back as a free bet. Now, we've got a little Central Division showdown in the NHL tonight. Blues at Blackhawks. Give me the under at 6 total points. Both of these teams have kind of been pretty underwhelming so far this season. Open to users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Most used within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
Hey, this is Phil Forsberg. And this is Smashville.
Forsberg a shot, broken up in front, give it back to Forsberg, and here come the hat.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening this weekend. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers here from LA and New York with their entire collections, all on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also marked down. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Hey everybody, Big Joe here for Apple Collision Centers. And you know I'm always on the go, but the distraction that an automobile accident causes could even slow my pace down to a stop. But my friend and CEO of Apple Collision Centers, Stan Harrison, has a plan to get you and I back on the road and fast.
We at Apple Collision Centers know you deserve the best quality service. We always recommend original equipment parts, and we use only the best Sherwin-Williams finishes. 3 convenient locations, Hendersonville, Gallatin, and Oak Hickory. And you can always visit us online for your estimate needs at applecollisioncenters.com.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
Coming up on the Thursday edition of Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, we're live from Bridgestone Arena as the Predators will take on the Islanders. We'll have silly underdog picks at noon and our weekly chat with Elliot Friedman at 1 o'clock. Plus, get you ready for Titans and Packers. All starts at 10 on 105. This is the game.
Hey, this is Matthias Ekholm. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Cold everywhere this time of year, but I mean up there especially, I was just like actually looking at the temp, so it's going to be below freezing. As a quarterback, what do you do to just stay warm, stay loose, whatever, and then especially dealing with an ankle, how does that affect it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of playing in the NFL, right? A lot of cold games, and this will be one of them. So make sure you're staying loose, staying warm as best you can on the sideline. As a quarterback, keep the hands somewhat warm and be good to go.
Anything special that you found works particularly well for you over the years?
Hand muffs. I don't know, nothing too crazy. I don't have any special tricks or anything like that. But what I have found, it works for me.
Do you wear a glove on the left hand? I don't recall.
I try not to wear. I like to feel the ball. You know, some guys love the gloves. For me, I don't like not being able to feel the ball, and especially on the throwing hand.
It's going to be cold tomorrow. I know because I'm going, and I've been looking. It's going to be like 20 degrees tomorrow, 22 degrees, and then the sun's going to go down, and it's going to be cold. And I am worried about Ryan Tannehill in the cold. I am.
No, say his name correctly.
Ryan Small Hands a Hill.
There you go.
So he's got small hands. And small hands does affect you throwing the ball in the cold. It also affects you fumbling the football. And how do I know this? Because Floyd told me that. So you all can say whatever you want, but Floyd did tell me that. I just, during the break, and I will go more in depth, I guess, either on this later today or tomorrow, because I know people are going to get mad about this. So this is definitely something we're going to bring back. When he was in Miami, so that meant that he would have to play Buffalo and New England, right? December 30th, 2018, Tannehill lost 42-17 at Buffalo. I'm going to guess it was cold on December 30th.
Probably so.
In December of 2000, and I think this was 15, they lost 19-0 at Buffalo. In 2012, his rookie year, they lost 19-14 at Buffalo. And remember, Buffalo's had some bad teams. This ain't this Bills team. They lost 19-14 at Buffalo, and that was November 15th, so it could have been cold.
Cold. Probably cold.
Now, they did, in December of 2016, they went to Buffalo and they won 34-31. Tannehill didn't play that game. So, when Tannehill was in Miami, that was the only one. Now, just, again, looking this up, at New England, last year in November, they lost 36-13. So they scored 13 points. Now, he had no receivers in that game, and I remember that game. These games, I'm just telling you the scores. I don't. But again, cold in New England, and they lost. Let's see, Miami at New England. That game was in Miami. Miami at New England, December 14th, 41-13, December 14th of 2014. Miami at New England, 41-13 Patriots.
In these games, the score indicates it's not such horrendous weather that neither team can throw the ball or both teams are affected, like that Patriots-Bills game last year.
Miami at New England, December 30th, 2012, New England 28-0. Green Bay. We all remember the Green Bay game a couple years ago. Tannehill in that one. Also terrible. Titans lost that game. The Titans lost on December 27th, 40-14 with Tannehill as the quarterback. And he went to Green Bay and Miami on November 11th of 2018, and he lost 31-12. So, case in point, I don't think he's ever won a cold weather game in his career except for the playoff game at New England when he was here, and he didn't even throw for 100 yards.
And also, there may have been some cold weather games thrown in there that we didn't know were cold weather games. But the December games in Buffalo feel like a pretty safe assumption that it was cold.
Buffalo, like the only places that are like this, Buffalo, Miami, and Green Bay. Buffalo, New England, and Green Bay. Because everywhere else is indoors.
Yeah.
Detroit's indoors. Minnesota is indoors. All those other places that are freaking cold. I guess Kansas City gets freaking cold.
Maybe
but
Chicago.
Not Green Bay cold.
Chicago. Let's see Tannehill's career versus Chicago. You know, again, I don't think he's played Chicago a lot, but it is at least worth looking up. Tannehill against Chicago. He played at Chicago October of 2019. No, October of 2014, October 19th. He played at Chicago and won 27-14, but I don't think October 19th is all that cold.
In Chicago?
It can
kind
be.
of cold?
It could be cold.
But
I mean,
probably
not 20
not like
degrees
this.
cold,
This
but it
guy-
could be cold.
I mean, the small hands and the fact that Tannehill is from Texas and he's played in Miami and Nashville, concerns me that Tannehill is not a very good inclement weather quarterback.
And it's not necessarily very toasty in Nashville in December or January either.
Yeah, but it ain't that.
It's not Green Bay. I
No,
know that.
it
I
ain't
understand that.
So I'm worried. And I think I should be worried about Tannehill in the cold weather. Tannehill has to win in the cold weather before we should not be worried about him in the cold weather. Not what I guarantee
I'm
you the
not
text line.
not worried about Tannehill. I'm just saying.
I guarantee you the text line right now is doing like this whole like, oh, you just hate no Tannehill. And it's like, no, he's got to win one of these first. Is it doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Phone
Jared,
lines. Go ahead.
Jared Cherry Picker says West Side.
Give me a game where he went on the road in the cold and won, other than the New England playoff game that he didn't throw for 100 yards and had one of the worst interceptions he's ever thrown as a Titan to Corey Davis. You know when Tannehill, every now and then, Marcus used to do this a lot more often than Tannehill did, and Vince Young used to do this once a game. But there are throws sometimes that come out of his arm that are like, what the hell were you thinking? That was one of those interceptions in that Patriots game. Dez is up next here on Stillman and Company. Thank you for calling the program. Go ahead, Dez.
I think Keenan Westbrook or Westbrook Keenan, whatever his name is, he's one of the best wide receivers that we got.
Okay, so your phone is killing me there, but the point is you say that Nick Westbrook-Akine is one of the best wide receivers that they have. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. I will say this. That's depressing. Like, I remember 2 years ago. So it wasn't like this was 8 years ago. 2 years ago, Corey Davis got hurt in the Ravens playoff game, and the Titans are driving to try to tie the game in the fourth quarter, and they're in the 2-minute drill, and Baltimore, everybody's looking at A.J. Brown, and Tannehill throws a pass complete to Westbrook-Akine. And they're like, pass complete to Westbrook-Akine, and he gets out of bounds, and that'll stop the clock. And I'm like, what the hell is he doing in the game? I'm like, where's everybody else? Where's everybody else to catch the ball? And I guess because they didn't have anybody else except for A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. Corey Davis goes out. They end up throwing the ball to Khalif Raymond. He gets bumped off, and they intercept it, win the game. But now it's from what's he doing in the game to, if you want to say he's the best receiver they have right now, I mean, it's in the discussion. I mean, honestly, our pregame show might have better receivers than the Titans right now. And they haven't played for 10 years. But it might have. Like, Derek, if you gave Derek 3 months, do you think, like 3 months of training, do you think he could be better than Cody Hollister right now?
I don't know, Jared.
I think he could.
I don't know.
I think he could. What else we got in the text line?
Another texter texts into the text line and says, in my opinion, it's 60% downing and coaching mindset and 40% players. Good offensive coaches can scheme mediocre players open consistently.
So I would probably reverse it, honestly.
60% players, 40% downing.
Yeah, I mean, when Mike Vrabel says it's more players than plays, and he's talking about, the players making the plays than it is the coaches drawing them up, he's not wrong. I mean, I was watching the Steve Young documentary on NFL Network, and Steve Young, Tampa Bay was going to trade him, and he was looking for a place to go, and he did a workout for Bill Walsh with the 49ers, and Bill Walsh told him, like, Steve, like, I want you to come to San Francisco because Joe Montana had just had back surgery, and Joe's never going to recover from his back surgery, so you're going to be our guy in San Francisco. And the first day of minicamp, Steve Young gets out on the field, and there's Joe Montana with no brace, no harness, no nothing, just out there flinging it around like Joe Montana. And Steve Young looks over at Bill Walsh like, what the hell? And Bill Walsh looks at him like and shrugs like, So Steve Young had to sit the bench for 6 years behind Joe Montana. And that's my whole point of, like, Bill Walsh lied to Steve Young.
Uh-huh.
Now, he won a Super Bowl because of that, or I guess George Seifert technically won that Super Bowl, but we all know that was, Bill Walsh. He continued the dynasty by doing that, but, he lied to Steve Young. He knows he's got to have good players, and they all know it's about the players. They all know it. So I'd say it's 60% players, but again, whose fault is it when the first third down of the game, Jeff Swaim drops the ball? Is it the player's fault?
You can argue either.
Or is it the coach's fault for putting Jeff Swaim in the game when Jeff Swaim's no good?
You could blame Jeff. I think the obvious answer is blaming Jeff Swaim, but if you look at Jeff Swaim's history of work and the sample size that we have that Jeff Swaim cannot catch the football, then I have to blame Todd Downing.
Jacksonville cut Jeff Swaim. I don't get what their infatuation with Jeff Swaim is.
Jacksonville also cut Mario Edwards.
I cannot wait until Mario Edwards pretty good. I cannot wait until they get rid of Jeff Swaim. Like, the day that they don't re-sign him, I will be so happy. Chris Sanders will join us next. We'll get his thoughts on the Packers game for the Titans tomorrow. TriStar Moving. Those are my official movers, my guys. In fact, Garrett, went to the game on Sunday. One of the owners of TriStar Moving, great guy. Robert, the other owner, great guy. They are Nashvillians just like me, and they want a company that people in their town will be proud of. And I know this because I moved with TriStar 2 years ago, and it was one of the best things I ever did. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. And I hate moving, but when I moved with those guys and I moved with their excellent sales staff, and I moved with their great movers, I knew that it was something I couldn't wait to tell you all about. And I've been doing that now for 2 years. They're the presenting sponsor of our show, and I absolutely love their company. And every time that somebody talks about moving, I always just say this. Just get a bid. Just get a bid. Don't call up, don't go, Google moving company and then just call the first one and they'll give you a quote and say, okay, well, I guess it'll cost $4,000 to move. No. Get a bid from TriStar because you'll see what their staff is like. You will see what their company is about, and you will be like me and you will enjoy telling people about how much you love TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, give them a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nashvillemoving.org/radio, and they'll give you 10% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 10% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Morning temperatures taking us from the 30s into the middle 40s later on this afternoon, and breaking up the cloud cover as well. A mainly sunny end to today. However, things will stay cold for the rest of this upcoming week.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural kosher certified ingredients. Sweet creamery, butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you are buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift giving easy.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industries. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at harmanenergy.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just 3 guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Like I said, I'm not in the booth, like you said, but I'm feeling better than last week, I'll tell you that. But like I said, I'm on a plan today, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see. Like I said, I'm still, trying to work through a lot. But, I'm feeling better, like I said, and, we always joke about it, but it's amazing what you don't, how much you feel better when you're not playing football. But, it's not something that I wanted. I really wanted to be out there, especially Sunday, playing against a team like that. But like I said, I trusted the plan, and like I said, I'm feeling better today. So we're going to work through a couple stuff today, and hopefully I can get into that game on Thursday night.
Jeffrey Simmons, you know what I heard from that? He's playing. Jeffrey Simmons is playing tomorrow.
Yes.
Let's not kid ourselves. He wanted to play Sunday, and clearly they were like, no, you basically played 2 games against the Chiefs. You're going to take this one off. You're going to play the Packers. Now, there is some injury news. Randy Bullock has been officially ruled out for tomorrow's game. Whatever. He is such a below-average kicker that I don't even care about that. They signed Josh Lambo to the practice squad. They've now signed him to the active roster. And I wondered why they would sign a guy who's kicked in San Diego and Jacksonville to be the kicker in Green Bay.
And he's from Texas?
No. Lambo is from Wisconsin. That's why they signed him. That's why they signed him. Because I know this because years ago when the Oilers moved and they were going to be playing outdoors, Floyd felt like they needed to go get a punter. And so they went and got Craig Hentrick from Green Bay because he figured if you can punt in Green Bay, you can punt anywhere.
Right.
So I get nervous about a new kicker kicking in Green Bay, but it's Wisconsin. With that, former Titans receiver Chris Sanders joins us now on the program. There is one other. By the way, Chris Sanders is presented by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers, ParmanEnergy.com. There's one other transaction, though, Chris, that I waited to bring you on to tell you about. As the Titans have signed Josh Lambo to the active roster.
No way.
They've waived wide receiver Chris Connolly.
Oh, I can't believe it. Unbelievable.
Chris Sanders guy who he picked to click in the first game that Chris Connolly was on the team. Chris Sanders guy has now been released, so there is that. Chris, your thoughts on the Titans going into Thursday night against Green Bay?
Man, I think they got a great chance. And the reason why I say not just a chance, I think they're going to win. And the reason why they're going to win is, Tannehill made a quote in one of his interviews. He said this: "It's ugly, but we find a way to win." And I think they're going to go down there and find a way to win. And the reason why I say that is, man, the defense, man. I've watched a lot of defenses around in my lifetime, and I'm not saying they're the best, but they're one of the best teams that every play they're giving it 110%. So you have guys like that are fighting on every play, that are giving it 100% every play. It doesn't matter who's in. You got Dupree out last week, you had Simmons out, you had all those people that were out last week. But when you put those guys in, it's like you don't miss a beat. So when you have a situation like that and you're going to Lambeau, I think you definitely put your team in position to win because your defense is fighting on every play.
Chris, how do you feel about the offense? They ranked dead last in the NFL, 32 overall, and they did not have a good day. Now, look, Denver was number 2 in the league in defense, but they did not have a good day on Sunday.
I'm concerned a little bit, but I think it's things that you can improve on. I mean, if you look at last week when they went against the Broncos, they were 1 for 11 on third down. And finally, we talked about this last week, when you give your receivers an opportunity to make some plays and you scheme them to make some plays, those guys can make some plays. I mean, if you look at last week when they went against the Broncos, Westbrook caught 2 touchdowns. I know it's a flea flicker. I know it's a trick play. But there's another one, a couple of plays where he made on third down and also a short touchdown. So giving those guys opportunities and letting those guys play, I think this offense can be – I'm not saying they're going to be an elite offense, but still they can do enough to win. Why? Because your defense is consistently keeping you in the game.
Chris, one thing that I noticed from the film – I don't think Tannehill and Robert Woods are on the same page.
No.
Whether it's Tannehill throwing a ball late to Robert Woods, or Robert Woods dropping a ball, or Robert Woods coming open out of his break and Tannehill not throwing him the ball, not anticipating him coming open. There's just something that's not clicking between the two. You've played receiver. What do you think that is, and do you think that they can get back on track?
I think they can. I mean, it's just a little things. They got to really spend time with each other. When I say spend time with each other, they got to watch film and say, okay, when I throw the ball, I expect you here. When a certain guy blitz, I expect you to do that. And I know that these guys haven't played with each other, a long period of time, but the way they can figure out is just, talking things out, talking through things when the special teams is on, or looking at the mistakes that they made. It's just little things. I mean, if you look at, the pass that he kind of dropped over the middle, it was off target a little bit. But then after that play, I think they need to go to the sideline and say, listen, Woods, when I'm getting pressure or, something's happened, a linebacker drops in that zone, I need you to do this. And once he understands that I need the wide receiver does this, then Tannehill can say, I can do that to make sure that they're on the same page.
Chris Sanders is our guest here on the program. What do you make of the fact that the Titans can have all those guys hurt on defense and still be stout against Denver last Sunday, and what that means going up against Aaron Rodgers?
it's the culture, man. And I know we say this all the time. It's funny because you had Simmons and Dupree, you had Amani Hooker out. All those guys were out, but you consistently getting the same result. Last week when they went against the Broncos, that front had 6 sacks. I mean, look at the guys who got sacks last week. Walker got a sack, Weaver got a sack, Everett got a sack, Jones got a sack, Cole got a sack. So you got guys that aren't starters but still getting the same production. So now when they go to Green Bay, I'm telling you something, man. Everybody's talking about that the Titans have no chance to go up to Lambeau. But when you have a culture of guys that are on the same page, that fight and taking the mentality of your head coach, come on, man. They can go down there and not just beat the doggone Green Bay Packers, but I mean just take the wheel from them, because that's the kind of guys that they have on that defense.
Chris, I'm going to the game tomorrow in Lambeau Field. It's going to be about 22 degrees around kickoff.
Yes, sir.
What do you make of that playing surface? What do you make of the Titans, kind of a warmer weather Southern team, going into the 22-degree weather at Lambeau Field? What do you make of the fact that Tannehill never wins on the road in cold stadiums? Aaron Rodgers is used to it. What do we make of all of that?
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, I played there. I think it was my second year we played there. Me and Derek played there, and I'm telling you, it's cold, man. I mean, it's cold, it's bitter. That wind is flowing around. But at the end of the day, it goes back to just guys just making plays. I mean, I understand that Rodgers has played in that situation, but at the end of the day, quarterback Ryan Tannehill, he was going to just have to suck it up and say, you know what, I understand it's cold. I understand the wind's going to be blowing. I understand that the environment is terrible. But I got to go out there and make plays, and that's what you do as a leader.
But do you think they can do that?
I think they're going to beat the brakes off of Green Bay, and the reason why I say it is because everybody looks at Green Bay as the old Green Bay. This is not the same Green Bay team. Rodgers had a good game last week, but he's been struggling throwing interceptions. I know he has 17 touchdowns and thrown for over 2,300 yards. But that offense is struggling. The receivers haven't been catching the ball. They're out of place. I know Christian Watson, had a big day last week, but that's the only game that he had. This is not the same team. So you go down there with the Titans team that's hungry. They're good on defense. They're going to frustrate Rodgers. Don't be surprised if them jokers go down and beat them, say 28-10. How about that?
28-10.
28-10.
28-10. What do you make about Derrick Henry? He didn't run the ball very well on Sunday.
Yeah, but Derrick Henry's going to be all right. I mean, that dude's he's one of those guys you can depend on every single week. And the reason why he didn't have a big day, they had 75 people in the box, so you're not going to have that big day. So the good thing I love about Derrick, he's a role player, and you better believe he's going to get over 115 yards this game because, hey, they're not going to stop big dog in the box.
Do you think the offensive line's getting better, Chris?
Yes. I really do, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because last week they only gave up 1 sack, and I watched the kind of the little innuendo things that are going on. Man, these guys may not be the most athletic, might not be the most talented, but every single play there, these guys are freaking fighting. They're trying to tear somebody's head off. Petit Ferrer from the Ohio State University, I watch him. Man, he's trying to take somebody's head off. So when
he did give up a sack on like the second play of the game.
Okay, one sack. But how many sacks have he had in the rest of the game? 0, because they're fighting on every play. So, even though they're not the most talented, these guys fight. And I was talking to TD about it last week. I said, would you take a guy that's very talented that's going to give you 50% or a guy that's good, that's average, that's going to give you 100%? He said he'll take the guy that has the least athleticism. And that's what you're seeing on this offensive line.
There you go. Chris Sanders, former Titans receiver. I enjoyed it more last week when Chris was all yelling and screaming about the receivers and was all mad about it than the excited Chris Sanders that thinks they're going to win tomorrow night. But I'll take it however I can get it. Chris Sanders will be on the pregame show tomorrow with Caroline. Great stuff, Chris.
All right, thanks, man. Bye-bye.
Yep, Chris Sanders, presented by Parman Energy, now hiring field drivers, ParmanEnergy.com. And speaking of Chris, tune in to the pregame show tomorrow night live from Twin Peaks in Cool Springs, Caroline. Chris Sanders, Derek Mason, 4 to 6 o'clock prior to the Titans and the Packers. The pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, Superbook Sports, and Ounce of Hope Cannabis Company. Coming up next, I've got a declaration to make about the college football playoff, their rankings, and what I feel like's happening to Tennessee. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Hutton for the Low T Center. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-injected home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
Are you looking for Tennessee-grown and crafted THC, CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9 products? Then float on over to ounceofhope.com. On top of the widest selection of luxury edibles and smokables, their customer service team is high quality and prepared to help select the right cannabis product for your needs. Their knowledgeable team will have you flying high with a smile. That's ounceofhope.com, made locally in Memphis. Ounce of Hope is Memphis Flyers' best cannabis shop 2 years in a row. Legal THC delivered to your door. ounceofhope.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3. Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushers.
Awesome game. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. The injury report is out. Now, this is only the final injury report for the Titans because Green Bay does not travel. So they don't have to decide who's getting on the plane and who's not getting on the plane. And that's what this is, where the Titans are ruling out Bud Dupree, not a surprise. Although, what is the freaking deal with that hip?
It's always something.
It's been the hip all year. It's been since the second game. It's been a hip, and then he misses a couple weeks. Then he plays great. Then he misses a couple more weeks. Then he plays great. Then he misses a couple more weeks, and now here you are. Bud Dupree out with the hip, though we're not surprised by that. Amani Hooker, who did practice this week. He didn't practice last week or the week before that, but Amani Hooker, who did practice this week, out. Now, that is a big loss for the Titans. And I was thinking Hooker was going to play. He's out. So that's not good. Ben Jones with a concussion, out. So that means they're probably, I would assume, going to play Aaron Brewer at center tomorrow. And then either Corey Levin or Dylan Radens is going to play the left guard spot. I would guess it would be Levin who will play the left guard spot. But a significant loss for the Titans to not have Ben Jones. Of all the names that we've just mentioned, and you know how much I think Bud Dupree affects this defense. And you know I love Amani Hooker. But I think Ben Jones, that is a humongous loss. And Randy Bullock is out as well. Now, Josh Lambo has been signed to the active roster. I have no idea if Josh Lambo is a good kicker at all. I know he's been in the league for a while. I know he kicked for the Chargers, and I know he kicked for Jacksonville, and I know Urban Meyer kicked him. And outside of that, I don't know anything about him. Anytime you sign a guy in the middle of the week and he's kicking field goals for you, if he goes out there for a 52-yarder, I mean, T's and P's. You know, like that's...
Fingers crossed.
That's, you know, the reality of it. But the Ben Jones loss against Green Bay, that's a huge loss for the Titans. But not surprising he suffers a concussion at the end of the Broncos game that he wouldn't be able to play this game. Really not much of a surprise. So even though Aaron Brewer's too small to play guard, probably going to be playing center tomorrow for the Titans in the cold in Green Bay. So there you go.
Concerning.
So I do want to get to this. I'm going to sound like a fan here for a second, like a Tennessee fan, which most people would say that for the most part I'm not. But the college football rankings came out yesterday. I wanted to watch to see where they were going to rank them, and then I got bored watching college basketball, and so I was like, I'm not watching this anymore. Just tell me where they rank them. And Tennessee's still ranked 5th, and I just decided maybe it's all the talk. I think Tennessee's getting screwed in this thing.
What?
Like, the more that these rankings come out, Tennessee goes out there and beats everybody by $5 billion.
Except for one.
They beat LSU by 30. They scored 52 points on Alabama. And somehow the chair of the committee is going to go on TV and say, you know, we really liked TCU's defense on Saturday night. I'm like, you like TCU's defense against Tennessee's offense? I thought so. Committee.
What's the most important thing? You say it all the time.
How many losses you got?
How many losses does Tennessee have?
1. But
how many does TCU have?
Here's the problem.
None. That's it.
Here's the
Period.
problem, though. They're setting this up for some team to jump Tennessee, or for some team, Michigan, Ohio State, to lose a game and not fall behind. Yeah, that's not going to happen. They're not going to beat Georgia. LSU's not beating Georgia. But, I mean, like USC. USC's at 7. And it's like there's 7 and there's 5. And so what happens is Tennessee blows out South Carolina. Tennessee blows out Vandy. They win those games by 800. If you put Tennessee and USC on a neutral field, Tennessee would be a 12.5-point favorite because their offense is too explosive and USC's defense ain't that good. And so if you did that, you would have Tennessee favored by 12.5. But this is what's going to happen. If USC beats UCLA, they'll say that's a good win. And so let's bump USC up from 7 to 6. So now they're at 6 and Tennessee's at 5. And then they win the Pac-12 and now they bump ahead of them. And so unless everybody loses, Trevor was talking about this yesterday. Ohio State could lose a game. And the committee, when they were undefeated, had Tennessee ranked ahead of Ohio State. But he thinks that even if Ohio State loses to Michigan, they could keep Ohio State ahead of Tennessee because Ohio State beat Notre Dame. Like, that's what we're going with here. And so I've just decided. My dad got into talk radio before I was born. He got into sports talk radio because he would listen on Mondays after Tennessee lost, because my dad hates the Vols, and he would listen on Monday after Tennessee lost to hear all the fans complain. And boy, I remember growing up on that, and they were the best. Like, growing up when Tennessee would lose on a Saturday and on a Monday, you know, it was either they cheated us, their refs cheated, or it was Randy Sanders' fault or John Chavis's fault. It was great. I miss those days. But now I'm starting to sound like a fan who I'm looking at just the movement of these rankings, And I'm like, they're going to screw Tennessee. I see it coming. I see it coming. They are going to screw Tennessee out of the college football playoff when I believe that if we were just saying, okay, and again, this is what the committee said when they started this. They were trying to make the college football playoff. Not what I think they think, but what I know that they said the mission was to get the 4 best teams and to have it always be about the 4 best teams. Tennessee is very clearly, in my opinion, one of the 4 best teams. And yet, USC could jump them and probably will. TCU will probably get in ahead of them if they go undefeated, though I don't think TCU is going to go undefeated. And
I think TCU passing the test at Texas, I think that was the one blip in their schedule that I saw. And maybe Baylor.
Oh, Baylor and the Big 12
big
championship
upset.
game?
I don't know. But
they had to go to double overtime to beat Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
And I think they went to the wire with Kansas State. So,
but I looked at that Texas game and I said, that's where TCU's season gets completely unrailed. And it didn't.
How can Texas have the best running back in the country and not run the ball well?
How can Texas have one of 3 quarterbacks in the history of recruiting rankings with a perfect ranking and have the team that they have and struggle to put up points the way that they do?
I just think Tennessee's about to get screwed. I do. I feel like I see it forming, and I see with all the movement, it's like nothing Tennessee can do the rest of the year will get them any credit. Nothing. You know, these other teams, they go out there and they win a game, and it's like, oh, we got to move them up 5 spots. But Tennessee goes out, and I thought Tennessee freaking smoked Missouri. I mean, smoked them. There are these other teams that will play these close games, and this is why I've told you that I don't think the game control really matters that much, because it's not like Ohio State's blowing people out of the water. They didn't blow out Penn State. They didn't blow out crummy Northwestern.
But also, Georgia hasn't really blown other teams out of the water either.
Oregon.
They did. They
Florida.
have blowouts on their schedule.
Florida.
Missouri.
That's one game. But for the most part, I mean, Georgia has equated themselves as the best team in the country. I don't think there's
I'm not arguing that.
I don't think there's any discussion for that. But I think Tennessee's very clearly one of the 4 best teams in the country, and they could win the next 2 games 100-0. They could win both of them 100-0.
It's South Carolina and Vanderbilt.
And if they want to go ahead and put USC ahead of Tennessee because they want to put, a Pac-12 team in there or a team in the West Coast out there or whatever it may be, I just think it's ridiculous. Like, I am taking the side of the Tennessee fans here, and I just see it coming with these rankings, and I listen to what they say, and I listen to that chair of the committee get up there and talk about, well, we as the committee, we really like the defense that we saw from TCU. I'm like, the defense?
Well, they can justify it however they want. TCU hasn't lost a game.
They can justify whatever they want by anything they want because they can
because they make the rules, and they are the governing body.
They can say, hey, the eye test tells us, and I'm not
But
saying.
at the end of the day, TCU has not lost a game.
I'm more so worried as far as eye test is concerned. I'm more worried about Ohio State and USC with the eye test. I am more worried that, and I don't know why this is. I don't know why Ohio State is ranked ahead of Michigan. Because Ohio State, people will say, well, Ohio
State has the quote-unquote better win.
Because they beat Notre Dame out of
Notre
conference.
Dame.
And Notre Dame sucks, right?
Notre Dame's top 25.
Who's top 25?
College football playoff.
All of them or the college football playoffs top 25? Because you know how I feel about the back end of the top 25 of the playoff committee.
It doesn't matter. But they are, yes, they're top 25. I believe they're 19 or 20 at the back end of the college football playoff ranking.
But are they in the AP?
I don't know.
So the reason I say
AP doesn't really matter to me at this point.
So, as I said, for many years, the college football playoff will cook the books on the back end of their top 25 poll in order to justify what they do at the front end. And Ohio State's a perfect example of that. The entire country forgot about Notre Dame and hasn't cared about Notre Dame. Now, they did beat Clemson, but the entire country
did lose to Stanford and
has
Marshall.
Forgotten about Notre Dame
they are
since they lost to Marshall. Okay, so they lost to Marshall, and everybody forgot about them. And now people are telling me, Ohio State's good because they barely beat Notre Dame early in the season. I'm like, what? And so, again, I don't have anything tangible to say that they're going to screw Tennessee right now. Because as everybody will say, well, we have to let it all play out. We have to see what happens with TCU in the Big 12. And we have to see, does USC beat UCLA? And then do they win the Pac-12 championship? And then we have to let it all watch it out. But, I just see it coming. I just see it coming. 615-737-1025. If you got a college football ranking thought, get it in now. We'll get right to you because this is probably the only time we're going to do this before we get back to Thursday Night Football. 615-737-1025 is our phone number here on the program. Tennessee at number 5. Boy, I feel bad for those Vols fans if they get screwed out of this. FanDuel Sportsbook. That's my official sportsbook app. By the way, Trevor had a take yesterday. I think he said it with a straight face. I think it's ridiculous. And I don't think that he's wrong about this actually happening. We'll get to that. FanDuel Sportsbook's my official sportsbook app. One of the things that I love about betting the NFL is you can always find new players or game props that you like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. Perfect for Thursday Night Football. Let me tell you, I think this is going to be a Titan-style game. Aaron Jones, under rushing yards. Titans have the 8th best run defense in the league, and when the Titans want to stop the run, the Titans do stop the run. Derrick Henry, under rushing yards. I think Green Bay is going to sell out to stop him too. So those are just a couple that I would go with, but it's your call. Same game parlay is just one of the reasons you can bet on FanDuel, and there's no feeling like nailing a same game parlay. So lock in your bet on the FanDuel Sportsbook or check out their popular SGPs already pre-built for you. Right now, new customers will get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with the promo code JGM. That's promo code JGM, and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
2, 3, 4, look. High school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When joint pains cause you to sit out on everyday activities, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Matthew Beal at Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Dr. Beal can diagnose your problem and treat the joint pain for both surgical and non-surgical matters. Board certified and fellowship trained, Dr. Beal specializes in hip, knee, joint replacement, and adult joint reconstruction. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more about Dr. Beal and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is here this weekend. It's an extraordinary event with savings up to 35% store-wide. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day store-wide event. Acclaimed designers are here with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's this Friday, Saturday, and yes, even open Sunday for this incredible event. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Signs First, Nashville's leading locally owned and operated sign and physical media company, has been supporting local community organizations for over 30 years. Signs First offers a 10% discount to all churches, nonprofits, and charities. Go to sfnash.com.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
Mount Juliet now has a new Dunkin' store, and the Game invites you to join us this Friday morning for their grand opening at 2234 North Mount Juliet Road. We'll be there with Predators tickets to give away, plus lots of free stuff. That's this Friday morning at the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching a game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Then if Michigan beats the Buckeyes in a tight one, then it's very possible that Ohio State would be deemed unequivocally better than Tennessee. I think the offenses are very similar, Ohio State and Tennessee, and I think that the Ohio State defense is better and more reliable than Tennessee's, although the Volunteers defense has been getting better. But I think the committee has the option to show that, and if you got a non-champ Buckeyes versus a non-champ Volunteers for the 4th spot because Michigan beats Ohio State, I think Ohio State may have an edge, certainly now, without factoring conference championships in and factoring in the Tennessee wins over Alabama and LSU. The committee still has Ohio State ranked ahead of Tennessee. And so that doesn't look good for Tennessee if Michigan wins. Tennessee fans have to be big Ohio State fans, actually, so they get in as a conference champion and not as a potential second Big Ten team.
I think that is so stupid. Trevor on our show yesterday that Ohio State could get into the college football playoff ahead of Tennessee even if they lose to Michigan and only have what I consider one good win, Penn State. Now, they'll give them a second good win because of Notre Dame. But to me, that would be total eyeball test. That would be total name brand. That would be total number one TV draw in college football, Ohio State, although Tennessee right now is the number one draw this season in college football. But the idea that Ohio State's the number one draw, and let's not kid ourselves, this $1 billion TV contract that the Big Ten has just signed, I mean, literally 80% of that's about Ohio State. So I get it. I think that is so ridiculous of what I've seen of Ohio State that if they lose to Michigan, that they should get into the playoff when they haven't really beaten anybody. And yet I think Trevor's right. That if Michigan beats Ohio State, then Ohio State will get into the playoff over Tennessee.
And that's why I think Tennessee fans really, really, really have to cross their fingers and hope Ohio State beats Michigan. Because if Michigan loses to Ohio State, I don't think they have a strong enough resume to still get in, even with a loss over Ohio State.
That win against Notre Dame's just not that big of a deal to me.
But I think the committee is showing you that they value Ohio State's resume over Michigan. Putting Ohio State over Michigan right now.
I know.
And I know it's such a small margin of difference. It's 2-3, but still, the committee's telling you that they like Ohio State better.
But you know why they like Ohio State better.
Because it's Ohio State.
There you go. And you know that if Ohio State loses to Michigan, and so they're a one-loss non-conference champion that only has 2 good wins against Penn State, in which they had to really squeak it out, and against Notre Dame, who, again, I don't even think is all that good. If they only have those 2 wins, they'll still get in over Tennessee. And you know why they'll get in over Tennessee?
Because it's Ohio State.
Because it's Ohio State.
And C.J. Stroud, I believe, at this point, likely will win the Heisman.
Why? What
and
the hell has he done this year?
They want the Heisman Trophy winner in the college football playoff. Hasn't won a game. That's what he's done.
I don't,
Or lost a game, excuse me.
The whole, that may be a little too rich that they want the Heisman Trophy winner in there. But
why is that too rich?
Because I don't think that the Heisman Trophy winner moves the needle for the TV ratings.
If it's the Ohio State quarterback,
nah,
I do.
I mean, who was the Heisman winner 3 years ago?
3 years ago was 2019.
Oh, okay.
So Joe Burrow.
I just feel like that. But again, that's minutia. Ohio State's getting in if they lose to Michigan. Why? Because Ohio State has the name brand of Ohio State. And Mel Kiper Jr. tells you all those players on Ohio State are going in the first 5 picks of the NFL draft. Tennessee, Ohio State on a neutral field. Who are you taking?
I think the spread would be Ohio State minus 3.5.
I didn't ask you that.
I know. I am just walking through my thought process. I would probably lean Tennessee.
Ohio State, Ian. Ohio State, Tennessee on a neutral field. Who you taking?
Probably Ohio State.
See, I think Tennesse'd kill them.
But how much Ohio State have you really watched?
I watched Ohio State play Notre Dame, And I was very impressed by Notre Dame. And then I realized a couple weeks later that Notre Dame sucks.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
And so then I was.
And then they beat Clemson.
Then I was disappointed. You know how I think about Clemson. I think Clemson sucks. But so then you got Ohio State, and I watched them play Penn State, and I thought they really did not play well in that game. And I just thought Penn State was like these SEC teams when they go up against Alabama, traditionally, where like an Ole Miss or somebody. They have a lead in the fourth quarter, and it's like, how long can we hold on to this lead for so that Alabama doesn't come back and win the game? And then all of a sudden, Alabama finds a way to come back.
Alabama does Alabama things.
Yeah.
Other than the 2 times that they didn't.
And that's what happened in the Ohio State-Penn State game. And so I just thought Penn State pooped their pants. And then I didn't watch the Northwestern game, but I was on the air on Sirius XM when that happened. And so I was keeping my eye on it. And they do a bunch of, they do updates, midway through the hour. And those are live updates. So they'll put in there like, hey, tease this into the update. So I'll be like, I'll know that Ohio State just scored or something. Or Wisconsin's up 7-0 in the second quarter, and that's what Rob Brender or, any of these guys, what they're going to lead with in their updates. And so then it's like, coming up next, why Tony Romo said whatever. Coming up next here on, but first, Rob Brender's got your Mad Dog Sports Bite, and apparently we got a wild one in Evanston, Illinois, and then it's like, thank you, Jared, we do have a wild one, or Dan Lang, or, whomever, these great guys that do these updates.
Yeah.
So I was like having to follow the Ohio State Northwestern game for like a whole 2-hour block. And then when I was off the air, I just watched the end of that game. And I think that Northwestern's cheeks. So I do not think that what we think Ohio State is, just like, what we think of Ohio State. Like, ha, 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 Ohio State. I just don't think that they're that this year.
I think that Ohio State and Alabama are very similar.
I was about to say, just like Alabama.
Just like Alabama, except Alabama plays in a much more competitive, much more difficult conference.
There's only
and
one
they've gotten exposed.
There's only one team this year that I will... Georgia. Phone line driven by WillScottyHunter.com. What do we have?
One texter texts in and says, seeing what's happening to Tennessee in these ranking advocates for why they should expand the playoff.
No! 2 wrongs don't make a right.
And that's a very easy argument to make is, look at all these good teams that could make the playoff. We should just expand it. But it is so much more than just, look at all these good teams. You have to think about, once you expand the playoffs, well, there's a lot of things that happen based off of that. Like, do the conference championships even matter? Does the Tennessee-Georgia game even matter? Does the LSU-Alabama game even matter? Does the Ohio State-Michigan game even matter? And the answer is no, they don't.
So I want you to write down right now who you think the 4 best teams in the country are in order. And I want you to do this without me looking. And we're going to reveal. Ian, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to come up with who you think right now. And I don't care about resume, and I don't care about game control, and I don't care about conference. I don't. Just the 4 teams right now, 1 through 4, that you think are the best team in the country. And in 30 seconds, we will reveal. It's almost like those NFL games where they're like, 30 seconds from Lowe's. In 30 seconds, we will reveal exactly who these 4 teams are, because I think that is a better way of doing this than sitting there and saying, well, I think we could put in so-and-so or such and such.
But that's the tough thing about it is the college football playoff isn't always the 4 best teams in the country.
I don't think it's ever the 4 best teams in the country. But for the most part, it usually does make sense.
It makes sense, but
while we're doing that, let me tell everybody to join Big Joe Dubin and Elijah Campbell this Friday for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy from 6 to midnight. They'll preview the big games and take you through the night of high school football around the Mid-State. It's the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Okay. Everybody, who's your number 1 team?
Georgia.
Everybody, who's your number 2 team?
Michigan.
Ohio State.
Tennessee.
Ooh, T.
Who's your number 3 team?
Tennessee.
TCU.
Michigan. Who's your 4th team?
Ohio State.
Tennessee.
Ohio State. So we all basically have Tennessee, Georgia, Michigan, or Tennessee, or Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Tennessee, except for Ian, who's got TCU in there.
Did you leave Michigan out, Ian?
I did, yes.
Okay.
That's some hate on Michigan. Nobody's talking about USC. Nobody's talking about... Ian put TCU in there.
But it's not just about the 4 best teams. It's not.
No, of course not.
I mean, TCU probably loses to Alabama by 2 touchdowns on a neutral field. But it doesn't matter because TCU hasn't lost a game. And if TCU wins the Big 12, then they're in.
So Chris Sanders today was all excited about the Titans. He thinks they're going to beat the Packers tomorrow. I'm going to reserve my pick for tomorrow. But I do know who I'm picking for tomorrow. Just not going to tell you now. And yet the Titans are underdogs. And I think a lot of people around the country don't expect the Titans to win. Fitz will join us next. We will discuss this. Fitz going to join us earlier because TD will join us for a special Wednesday edition of the Power Hour at 4 o'clock. So Fitz will join us next. Tune into the Sunday NFL Game of the Week on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings. Woo! That's a goodie. Dallas and Minnesota, 325. The NFL Game of the Week, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Don't miss out on Black Friday deals at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Sony, Apple, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, headphones, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Well, I'm an orthopedic surgeon, board certified.
Meet Dr. John Herzog, who's certainly done his share of knee and hip replacements. But these days, he's encouraging his patients to look at regenerative medicine options, now available at QC Kinetics.
I'm kind of the anti-surgeon right now, and a lot of my buddies, if they hear me talking, they're going to give me a call.
Dr. Herzog says advances in regenerative medicine can give your achy joints lasting relief, using highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
We take the fluid out of you, we concentrate it, and putting it in an area where they couldn't normally get to and facilitate healing.
Are you suffering from constant pain due to arthritis or injury? Maybe it's time to look at alternatives to drugs and surgery at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in these exciting treatments.
What could be more natural than using your own body to heal yourself?
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go, so I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partner with Beacon. With the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Searching, ordering, tracking. It's like having my Beacon rep in my pocket 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at Bartesian.
Decisions on a football team
are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Ryan Johansson. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tune into the college football game of the week on 102.5, 106.3 The Game this Saturday as MTSU takes on Florida Atlantic at 2:30. The college football game of the week is brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sports book in Vegas. Download their app today. The Titans opened as 2.5-point dogs on Thursday Night Football. The number is now 3. Bud Dupree is out. Not surprised there. Amani Hooker's out. He's been out the last couple of weeks. Not surprised there. Ben Jones is out with a concussion. That is surprising. But Green Bay kind of stinks this year. Jason Fitz joins us now, ESPN Radio, presented by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, save lives. Fitz, should the Titans be 3-point dogs on Thursday night, given the fact that Green Bay, outside of a couple of throws from Aaron last week to Christian Watson, hasn't really looked like Green Bay?
No, not at all. And I'm surprised. I wonder what Vegas knows that we don't, because a couple of factors come into this. One, this is, Green Bay is not any good at stopping the run. So even without Ben Jones, I still think the Titans can run the football on him. But then the other part of it is, look at this year on Thursday Night Football. Scoring on the whole is down across the league. Thursday Night Football has been ugly week in and week out, statistically ugly also. It favors teams that can simplify their playbook and simply run the ball down your throats. It favors teams, if you want to keep it close, they can stop the run. Green Bay can't stop the run. The Titans can run the ball down your throat. I think the Titans should be the favorite in this game, and I think it should be pretty expected that they win. We're trying to give any benefit of the doubt we can to Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay. They're just not very good.
And I was going to follow up with, what do you make of this Packer team? Because they haven't won a lot of games. They did win the game on Sunday, and then Rodgers calls the coach out right after the game. And then everybody laughs it off and pretends like it didn't happen, but it definitely happened, and he definitely called the coach out, and it definitely doesn't feel like he's really all that happy with them. And after he drug them around for 2 years and then took all the money, it doesn't really feel like they're all that happy with him either. Oh, we lost Fitz.
Bye, Fitz.
Fitz just got
He didn't
zapped.
like your question, so he said, I'm out of here.
He must have not liked it. I mean, ESPN must be on the don't question Aaron train. Aaron used to have that for a while. Aaron used to get the benefit of the doubt from everybody about everything as far as the Packers are concerned.
I think that people have had enough with Aaron Rodgers, though.
Well, I remember when Jordan was on The Bachelorette and he revealed on the show that he and Aaron didn't talk.
I think that was the first glimpse, at least America's as a whole, was the first glimpse of Aaron Rodgers is kind of a weird dude.
Oh, yeah. But most people just blame Jordan.
Yeah.
They were like, he's trying to get famous. He's using his brother. He's this, he's that. And so they made him out to be the bad guy. But then it was like, Aaron versus his family. Then it was Aaron versus Mike McCarthy. Then it was, it was originally Aaron versus Brett Favre. Then it was Aaron versus his family. Then it was Aaron versus, is it our phones that are zapped?
I think so.
Well, damn.
Yikes.
I feel bad that we zapped Fitz.
Sorry, Fitz, if you're listening.
Jason Fitz is presented by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, save lives. Oh, let's see. See, we must not, whatever. But, so it was Aaron versus Mike McCarthy. Then it was Aaron versus the organization when they drafted Jordan Love. Then it was Aaron versus everybody last year when he lied about being vaccinated. And so now everybody just kind of thinks Aaron's, a softie and, he's a crybaby. Fitz is with us. Fitz, what do you make of the Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur kind of blow up at the end of the Cowboy game? Aaron throws LaFleur under the bus, and now everybody says it's all good. They kissed and made up. What do you make of that?
Yeah, no, I don't think any of it's all good. And look, every year we get a surprise firing in the NFL at the end of the season. If this season continues to be complicated, it's a heck of a lot easier to get rid of Matt LaFleur than it is to get rid of Aaron Rodgers with a $100 million dead cap hit next year for him. So, I think Matt LaFleur at this point has got to figure out how to either communicate with the quarterback or they're going to have to lead to some way to divorce these two. And the craziest thing about the Packers right now is they have no identity. Like, what do they run the football okay, but there isn't a moment where it's 3rd and 3. You know what the Packers are going to do. Good luck trying to stop them. There isn't a moment where, Packers need a drive. You know what they're going to do. Good luck trying to stop them. They are absolutely coming out with some weird hodgepodge. It's like a casserole where none of the ingredients really work together, and you're just hoping that you got it lucky. And at the end of the day, more often than not, it ends up being bad. You're right. This Packers offense is not good. Matt LaFleur and the relationship with Aaron Rodgers is not good. I'd be stunned to see the two of them together next year.
Which grouping would you rather have? Would you rather have Vrabel and Tannehill or LaFleur and Rodgers, and which one is more important for tomorrow night?
No, I got to go Vrabel and Tannehill because at least Vrabel and Tannehill seem to have, again, I'll use the word identity in what they're trying to accomplish. And there is some level of when you've got a short work week and you think about what it means for everybody, this being around the team, Stillman, think about how little time they get to actually dive into anything. You better have a bunch of people that are on the same page. Right now, I'd rather have a coach and quarterback that are on the same page. Even if I don't think Ryan Tannehill is great, I'd rather have coach and quarterback on the same page that I know that they know what they're trying to execute. They're speaking each other's love language in that situation. So I'll go Vrabel and Tannehill. And frankly, we've talked about it before. I think LaFleur and Rodgers might be the most overblown team right now, tandem in the NFL, and Vrabel and anybody is still one of the most underrated.
So I think when I watch Aaron throw the ball this season, I don't think Aaron has changed. I know that people will say if the team loses, it's Aaron's fault. And, I do think Brady has, and I love Brady. I think Brady's declined a little bit. I think the team has declined a lot more than he has. I don't think Aaron has declined. I just think these receivers aren't as good. I just don't think they're as well coached. I just don't think defensively, for some reason, they're not very sound. I don't think Aaron's the problem. My biggest fear tomorrow, Fitz, is that Aaron has found a guy in Christian Watson, and he just goes off because there's something about him in those night games at Lambeau where he literally can put the ball anywhere, and he did that on Sunday against the Cowboys, though I blame the Cowboys for losing that game.
Yeah, well, and you're right. I don't think your assessment on Aaron Rodgers is, frankly, that far off. I understand why Aaron Rodgers is frustrated. He wants things to run a certain way, and he wants to be able to play a certain style, and frankly, he should be able to play a certain style. If Aaron Rodgers was on a better team, would that better team be a Super Bowl contender? I think the answer is clearly yes. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is broken. I don't think we have any indication at this point of if LaFleur can actually be a great head coach. It's pretty swanky when you're going through the first few years in the NFL as a head coach and you have a Hall of Famer at quarterback and maybe the best wide receiver in the league. That just makes things hit a little bit different. So, to that end, I don't disagree with you. The problem with last week for the Cowboys is I felt like the Cowboys came in a little bit sort of underwhelming. Coming off a bye week, they didn't have the usual fire or step that I expected them to have. They didn't have anything creative, and they looked surprised. I'm going to bank that Vrabel's not going to let this Titans team look surprised coming into this matchup. They're going to be fully aware, and the fact that they are a 3-point dog. They're all sitting there talking about the fact that they're the underdog, even though they shouldn't be. I think they're eyes wide open coming into this matchup, and the only reason that Green Bay caught Dallas last week is because Dallas wasn't paying attention, which is a sign of bad coaching.
Do you think Jason Fitz is our guest? Do you think if Aaron could do it over again, that he would have come to the Titans this offseason?
Yeah, I think if Aaron could do it over again, he would have gone somewhere where he could have had, and not just the Titans, but somewhere where he could have gone the way things have gone, although it's gone drastically wrong. The thing that Russell Wilson wanted was the ability to go to a team and say, this is what I want to do, and this is how we're going to do it. Now, that may have been a huge mistake for Denver. We'll see how that plays out. But Aaron Rodgers looking around at that, saying, man, I think, as much as we've been talking about Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, I think if you could put truth serum in both of their blood, they would say, I wish we would have found a place to play together where we could have just done what we want to do in a place where we could win football games. I don't know where the disconnect is with the organization, but flat out, Aaron Rodgers has been wasted year in and year out for the Packers. It should never have been this contentious. It should never have been this difficult. And Matt LaFleur and Gutekunst, the entire organization, will at some point have to remain accountable for the fact that they wasted a first-round draft pick, not just on Jordan Love, but just wasting a first-round draft pick that never saw the field. And now you've gotten into the situation, you destroyed a relationship with somebody that you need to have that good relationship with. I think the Packers have screwed this whole thing up.
Now, I'll say this, though. Had Rodgers decided that he wanted to come here, Vrabel would not have treated him the same way that he gets treated now. Like, the idea of Aaron's going to run the show, that's not going to happen with Mike Vrabel as the coach. And maybe Mike Vrabel will never have a quarterback like that, but I could never see Vrabel doing something like that. Jason Fitz is our guest. Presented by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, save lives. Last one for you, Fitz. Do you think the Titans are going to win tomorrow on Thursday Night Football at Lambeau Field?
Yeah, I think the Titans win pretty easily, pretty convincingly. And, look, we've talked a lot this year about where the tiers are in the AFC. We've seen Buffalo play. Like, Josh Allen has played stupid football several times over the last month. And I know everyone wants to forgive it because it's Josh Allen, but he's played stupid football, and we've seen it. The Bengals have their fair share of issues. The Ravens haven't come together the way most people think. Like, I can look here and say, okay, the Chiefs are pretty much who we thought they were. But at some point, we're going to have to start acknowledging that the Titans belong in the same conversation. And in an AFC where nobody has clearly run away with it, I still think that if, and it's a big if, the Titans can get just okay play from the quarterback position, they're a Super Bowl contender, and they absolutely win this game either way. Even if they get bad quarterback play, they beat the Packers.
Two guests today, Chris Sanders and Fitz, both taking the Titans tomorrow on Thursday Night Football. Fitz, sorry about our phones going out there for a second. Great stuff. We appreciate you.
Always got you, brother. Thanks, man.
Yep, Jason Fitz joining us on the program. Boy, he doesn't think much of the Packers.
No, he does not. I don't think he thinks very much of Aaron Rodgers.
He does not think much of the Packers. But I tell you, Aaron's balling. That team, not so much. Aaron, I think Aaron is balling. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones. TD will join us in 15 minutes for a TD Power Hour. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Speaking of the Titans and the Packers, I did a little research. I do have a thought on that we'll get into, but I also have a thought on the Predators, who have now won 2 in a row. Woo-hoo! We ripped their rear ends, and the Predators have won 2 games in a row. And so I've got a thought on that. We'll get to that coming up, and then we're right back to your phones. 615-737-1025. Preds fans, before the game tomorrow night, hang out at the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway with 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Place your bets with Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials. Plus, enter to win a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds game. So enjoy that. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5, Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobis. Morning temperatures taking us from the 30s into the middle 40s later on this afternoon, and breaking up the cloud cover as well. A mainly sunny end to today. However, things will stay cold for the rest of this upcoming week.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Attention hockey fans, come see Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic in a matchup of 2 of the NCAA's top 20 ranked college teams at Bridgestone Arena Friday, November 25th, 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin. Northeastern Huskies versus the Western Michigan Broncos in Nashville, November 25th.
Hey, Teron Davenport here for Superbook Sports. When it comes to sports, it's all happening right now. Football, basketball, hockey, and soon enough, the World Cup. And there's no better place to wager on all of it than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. Yes, $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it's time to get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening this weekend. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers here from LA and New York with their entire collections, all on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also marked down. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexroad.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Yossi's pass was deflected back toward him, but kept in the zone. Banked back to Niederreiter from the left circle. And a quick pass out of the score. Nice finish there. Power play goal by Matt Duchesne. And the Predators suddenly a 2-0 lead.
2 games straight of just allowing 1 goal. What did you make of your team's effort tonight?
I thought it was pretty solid. You know, I thought 5-on-5 it was a pretty even game. I thought they had some strong pushes at certain times, and I thought when they were pushing, we were able to defend pretty well. But I also thought we had times where we were really pushing and controlled the territory in the game. So I like that component of it. And, you know, special teams were a big difference for us tonight, and that's something that we needed. Penalty kill came up big again, but it was nice to see the power play get some life. You know, I think we obviously scored the nice goal with Duchesne, but I thought in general we were more threatening. There was more speed and execution and attack on the power play, so that was good.
Predators win last night 2-1, 2 games in a row where they've now won 2-1. And in my opinion, the goalie has stolen both of those games. And it's funny because when they were losing, it was, the goalie really hasn't played that well. You know, I mean, Saros is he's got an 8-9 something save percentage, and he's just not playing that well. And so don't blame the team because they're losing these games. Blame Saros because he's really not playing very well. In fact, don't blame the coach. You talked to Elliot Friedman on the Midday Show last week.
Don't blame the coach. Do not blame the GM.
But blame who?
UC Saros.
Okay, blame the goalie. So I think the goalie is sick and tired of everybody blaming the goalie. Because the last 2 nights he's gone out there and literally stolen the game. He stole that game against the Rangers.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm not saying they didn't play hard because they did play hard in both games. And, Parsonen had that goal to start the game against the Rangers Saturday night. That was a beautiful goal. And then last night, I was driving, listening to the pregame show, and Robbie was talking to Max about how Matt Duchesne needs to step it up, and all of a sudden Duchesne has a goal and an assist in like the first 5 minutes of the game or whatever it is. And so I'm not saying that the whole team stinks and Saros is the only one out there or whatever. But Saros stole them both of those games. And if Saros wants to have, a 9.71 save percentage which is what he's had over the last 2 nights, if he wants to go 9-7-1 for the entire season, then the Predators are going to win a lot of games, no matter what the people in front of them do, if the goalie is stopping 97% of the shots. That's probably not going to happen. But I do think that right now, to me, a lot of it was, well, they're playing hard, but, Saros isn't playing very well, and so blame him. Can't blame him anymore. So now, if you're going to get a 9-7-1 save percentage, let's start, putting some more goals in there and all of a sudden maybe winning these games instead of having to hold on to the seat of your pants, which they've had to do each of the last 2 nights, taking penalties right before the end of regulation so the other team is going 6-on-4, things like that. They showed one yesterday. I thought this perfectly encapsulates the Predators. And how many times have I told you that this is when the goalie plays well, everybody gets the credit. The coach gets the credit. The guys that score the goals in the games get the credit. Because if they had lost last night and they had scored 2 goals, nobody would be saying, hey, Duchesne played well last night. But because they won, it's, hey, even though they only had 2 goals. Everybody gets all the credit when the goalie goes bananas and carries this team. But there was on the TV broadcast last night a shot where, how they'll show like one of those angles, slow motion going to break? And it was to show a Saros save. And the Minnesota guy is coming in with the puck, and Carrier is standing right there defending the front door, and the guy just blasts his shot right by him. Carrier doesn't move at all, and then just falls down. And it's like, man, this is what I'm going to say. The Predators still stink. Saros is just stealing these games right now. And no one wants to hear that, but maybe him holding on for dear life over the last 2 nights is enough to get the guys that we know don't stink to not stink anymore. But that's the assessment of the 2 wins that they've had.
And that's the way that I've kind of viewed it really ever since last season. And this may be overly simplistic, but if Saros plays well, they're going to win games. And if Saros does not play well, they will not win games.
And one of the mitigating factors here is the quality of the opponent that they will play. Mm-hmm. So that when they play a good team, Saros can still play well, and they'll still pot some goals in because they have good players.
Right. And because Saros also isn't getting a ton of help out there either.
But when they go off against Halak and they end up getting only 2 goals, the Rangers have the best goalie in the NHL, in Shesterkin. And when they decided that they were going to play Halak, the Predators automatically became like minus 120 favorites to win the game Saturday night. You should win that game. By the way, did you guys see the goal Freddie Gaudreau had last night?
I don't know.
Ian, did you see the goal Freddie Gaudreau had last night?
I did, yeah.
Did you know he had that kind of talent?
I gotta say, he might be one of the players I probably root for the most that has ever played for one of the teams I used to kind of follow,
I do love Freddie Gaudreau.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Freddie because, it felt like they kind of did him dirty, and he showed up in the run, and he played so well, and then they just let him go like that, and he seems to be fitting in Minnesota.
Well, he's there. Well, I was driving again, listening to the pregame show, and Max is like, yeah, top line center, Freddie Gaudreau. I'm like, top line center? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, that was a beautiful toe drag, and he just freaking sniped it. And I'm like, Freddie Gaudreau? I remember Freddie Gaudreau scoring those goals in that cup run, and, Freddie Gaudreau was putting it in. But those were kind of grimy goals. They weren't that was like a Patrick Kane move to the net by Freddie Gaudreau? Oh, my God. I thought that. I'm like, where's that been? Why is that guy not on this team anymore? First line center for the Minnesota Wild. Again, look, the Predators have won 2 in a row. That's great. I told you all they had 8 of the next 9 at home. If they didn't turn it around, which I thought was going to be winning 4 of those 9, then I thought that the coach was probably going to get fired. I don't have any sourcing on that. I just think it. Now they've won 2. Can they get 2 more of the next 6? That's all they have to do, in my opinion. 2 of the next 6. Surely they can get 2 of the next 6, right?
Yes. Considering that it's a homestand for majority of those next 6, yes.
But what if they don't get 2 of the next 6?
You can't blame the coach and you can't blame the GM.
Then it'll be the goalie's fault.
Yep.
Because the goalie didn't have a 9-7-1 save percentage.
Even if the goalie plays out of his mind, because you'd have to blame him.
Everybody loves blaming the goalie, and I truly believe the last 2 nights not saying like Saros is hearing the noise, but just Saros has looked in the mirror and said, like, I am not going to be the reason that we lose.
And he's had slow starts in the past, but not like that.
He has. People want to conveniently forget that when they...
Well, it's easy to forget that.
Decide to play him in the bubble series over Pekka when it was, I still hold that against Hines. Nobody else does, but I do, but whatever. TD will join us for the TD Power Hour, but you know what? Good for the Preds. They've won 2 in a row, and we'll see if they can win 3 in a row tomorrow night. TD will join us for the TD Power Hour, a special edition on a Wednesday because, well, we got a game tomorrow for Thursday Night Football, so TD will join us coming up next. Speaking of the Predators, be sure to tune in to Smashville Live tonight at 6 o'clock, live from Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue. See your favorite Predators players up close and personal, and get autographs and pictures. And tonight's special guests will be Ellie Tolvanen and Kevin Lankinen. Smashville Live is brought to you by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, Little Harpeth Beer, and Superbook Sports.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee.
We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome Game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture, Nashville's locally owned furniture store. They started their business with one customer and one sofa. The owners work in the store daily to ensure their customers get the best treatment possible. Social Furniture offers same-day delivery and installation. Good credit or bad credit, they finance interest-free. A huge in-stock inventory. And now for a limited time during their Black Friday sale, take an extra 20% off. Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture. Why go anywhere else?
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set. Checker flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
These are battles, these are grinds. We don't panic, we don't freak out. That's how we're built.
1, 2, 3, 9. This is your drive to the playoffs update, presented by Coleman Tractor, Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer, on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
The Tennessee Titans have a quick turnaround week as they head up to Green Bay for a Thursday night matchup in Lambeau. Heading into the short week, injuries have been a main concern for the Titans. Someone to keep an eye on today and tomorrow is center Ben Jones, who has been in concussion protocol since Sunday. Elijah Molden, Jeffrey Simmons, and David Long Jr. were back on the practice field Tuesday, and Jeffrey Simmons says he's feeling better and hopes to play on Thursday.
Still, trying to work through a lot, but, I'm feeling better, like I said, and, we always joke about it, but it's amazing what you don't, how much you feel better when you're not playing football. But, it's not something that I wanted. I really wanted to be out there, especially Sunday, playing against a team like that. But like I said, I trusted the plan, and like I said, I'm feeling better today. So we're going to work through a couple stuff today, and hopefully I can get into that game on Thursday night.
Was there a particular play in that Kansas City game that aggravated it? Like late in the game?
I can't remember exactly what it was, but, football, you have that type of mindset just to play through the small things, and, sometimes it just get aggravated a little more than what it was. So.
This report is presented by Coleman Tractor. I'm Michelle Knesvik for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. TD is in the house for the TD Power Hour. Teron Davenport is presented by Craneworks and Rentalworks. Your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit craneworks.com. TD, it will be cold for you tomorrow at Lambeau Field. How are you today?
No doubt about it. It'll be cold tomorrow, and, man, it was cold today. I had to shoot over to Lambeau and do a pre-record for 12 p.m. SC tomorrow. And, yeah, man, I got to go to the store.
Is that your way, TD, of saying that you are going to be on SportsCenter tomorrow and you want everybody to know you'll be on SportsCenter tomorrow?
No, I was just telling you what I had to do, man. And just,
what time should we set our DVRs, TD?
So it'd be 12 p.m. Eastern, so 11 a.m. Central. And there's a good possibility the evening ones, too, will be doing some stuff. So, yeah, man, I'm glad I brought my my little, my purple corduroy. Got the Prince look going. So let's go.
Let's start on this game. Titans are underdogs, TD, on Thursday Night Football. And we had Fitz on earlier today, and I was just kind of I was telling Caroline this. There's a huge dichotomy right now between my heart and my head. My head is telling me Titans. My head is telling me the Titans are a better coach team, that the Titans, outside of the quarterback, are probably, a better put-together team. And then my heart is telling me not to expect the Titans to win, and also that it's going to be hard to win a night game at Lambeau Field against Aaron Rodgers, who maybe found a new weapon on Sunday in Christian Watson. And, let's not count the Packers out. They've been to a lot of playoff games over the years. And so I have this big dichotomy here of how I feel about this game. What do you think about how the Titans are perceived to be underdogs in this game?
Yeah, it's to be expected. I think whenever, even though things are shifting, and I think you had said this yesterday, to where it's shifting more towards a team game and not as much quarterback-centric. Mm-hmm. Even though that is the case, Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, they're going to go with Aaron Rodgers. And you also have to remember 3 points always goes to the home team. So I get it. But I will say this. When you look at this matchup, you got Elton Jenkins, who happened to be a college teammate of Jeffrey Simmons. You got David Bakhtiari. And you got John Runyon. That I feel old because I watched his dad play in Philly for the Eagles, and you watched him play here as well. But when you look at those guys, they're all banged up. Where's the Titans' area of strength?
Defensive line.
Right. And I'm talking about, forget the 4 horsemen, there's like 8 of them. And that, I think, is going to be the difference in the game, in my opinion. I think that defensive line, Danico Autry and crew, Jeffrey Simmons, who's questionable, I think those guys are going to dominate tomorrow.
What do you make of the Packers and the fact that, going into the season, they were up there with Buffalo as far as Super Bowl contenders was concerned, and the fact that they didn't need a miracle on Sunday to beat the Cowboys, but they needed a lot to go right to avoid being 3-7. They're 4-6. Minnesota has run away with that division, and it doesn't seem, after the game, Rodgers and LaFleur, Rodgers throws LaFleur under the bus, and then on Tuesday, we're all buddy, where it's all fine, it's all good. But it just, something doesn't seem right with the Packers, TD.
Yeah, here's the thing, and it's really interesting in watching them. It's always like one small thing. A lineman gets a block here, and that run is 40 yards instead of 4. There's all types of things like that. But then also, they took, to a lesser degree, the same approach as the Titans did to the receiver position. You got one of the best in the game leaving. I mean, at least the Titans used a first-round pick on one. Christian Watson, in some boards, was a first-round guy, but, and then they came back later and got Romeo Doubs. The Titans came back later and got Kyle Phillips. I mean, both teams took a very similar approach. So I think that really hurt them, long story short. You take Devontae Adams out of that offense, that hurts them. I don't care what anybody says, and that's really what has gone wrong. But then also, the offensive line has not been together as a unit frequently, and that's never a good thing.
Does this feel like a playoff game to you tomorrow? It feels like a playoff game to me.
Maybe because it's just a primetime. It's a primetime game. Maybe just because that it could feel that way. I think the Titans, and they'll never say this, right? They'll never say they have the luxury of being able to lose games because there isn't a loser in that building, all the way down to the Cooks. That's one thing that's pretty cool about that place is there's a winning culture in there. But they have the luxury. I mean, look at the AFC South. Who is going to rise up and really challenge them? But at the same time, basically what they're playing for is a higher seed and to be able to host playoff games, which is what they want to do, but it hasn't been successful the last 2 years.
So when I say it feels like a playoff game for me, I think I'm talking about more, you're right about it being a primetime game certainly is a part of that, plus the quarterback. The fact that if you're going to want to win the Super Bowl in the AFC, the Titans are going to have to go through Mahomes or Allen or, these Rodgers levels quarterbacks. But it kind of feels like a prove-it game for me for the Titans. Like they've showed a lot against Kansas City to the country when they played the Chiefs, but they couldn't finish the deal. Now, I think it's because they didn't have their starting quarterback in there. I think a lot of people think that, but they still couldn't get it done. And so people, I think, around the country gained respect for the Titans, but they didn't gain okay, these guys are a real threat. If they beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers and the defense plays great, even though the Packers are only averaging 18.5 points a game, I think there's going to be a lot of, hey, Tennessee is winning games with that defense, and that defense could be a problem for Buffalo or Kansas City or Miami or any of these other AFC teams. Plus, I kind of feel like if the Packers lose, they might be done if they lose at home on Thursday Night Football to the Titans. And so that's where I'm kind of coming up with this feels like a playoff game. But you're probably right, because if they lose, the season's not over, and that is the number one feeling of the playoffs.
Yeah, no, you're right. In that if the Packers lose, hey, look, man, cancel Christmas out here in Green Bay. It's over. You know what I mean? So that is a good point. But I tell you what's funny and really interesting about all of this, when we look at this as a GPS game for the Titans, quite frankly, they don't care. You know what I mean? They don't care how the rest of the nation looks at them. All they care about is what's inside the building. And they'll continue to win ugly. And as long as there's a W in the column, that's all that matters to them. And it's intriguing to me how none of these guys care about stats. None of them care about it, And then you go and you look at, and this is an interesting thing here also. The league is kind of shifting towards what the Titans do. Yards per carry are up. The average is 4.6 yards per carry. That's, I think, the highest in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. The average passing play is 11.1 yards. And shout out to Dan Orlovsky for posting this. That's the lowest in like the last 20 to 30 years. The game is becoming more run-oriented, which falls right into the Titans' hands. Why? Because they run the football as well as anybody, but then they also defend the ball, rushing attack as well as everybody, because you've got Jeffrey Simmons and all those guys, David Long and Kevin Byard, right up the middle. You got your, strength up the middle.
TD is with us for the TD Power Hour. Get your questions in for TD. We'll answer them at the back end, 615-737-1025. But the big news today, Ben Jones out for the Titans tomorrow. What do we make of the offense with no Ben Jones? What do we think it'll look like tomorrow and the struggles that the offense continues to have? TD is with us for the TD Power Hour presented by Craneworks and Rental Works. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Hal Gill here for my friends at Dunkin'. Everyone celebrates the holidays in their own special way, but you go twice as hard as everyone else. So does Dunkin', which is why they've created 2 espresso-rich holiday signature lattes. The minty, cocoa-dusted peppermint mocha and creamy cinnamon sugary toasted white chocolate lattes are handcrafted with bold espresso and topped with whipped cream to help you do the most this year. So swing by the newly remodeled Dunkin' on Bradley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and grab one today on the double.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, Craneworks. The Craneworks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give Craneworks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call Craneworks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Joe Rexrode here for OrderGreen.com. Listen, to do the job I do, got to stay on the move at all times. Lots of travel, early mornings. Sometimes it can catch up with you, and when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body. That's why I use a high-quality, wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. It's not just me. Lots of my friends are on the bandwagon here, including a sick family friend of ours who has gotten great benefits. OrderGreen.com. You subscribe, you save 25% off shipments of gummies, or use promo code JOE20 for 20% off your first purchase. OrderGreen.com.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here. Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you got to do is sign up with promo code ROB, and maybe your first bet is Titans and Packers on Thursday Night Football. The Titans a 2.5-point underdog. Give me the Titans plus the 2.5, but you take it any way you want to take it. Just make sure you do it on FanDuel, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. They got great live betting options every single day, and you can get your winnings quickly as well when you win. So sign up today with promo code ROB for your no-sweat first bet. Once again, that promo code is ROB. You can make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is non-withdrawable withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
You've talked in the past about, being dedicated to the run and dictating to the defense how things are going to go. Is it tough to how do you balance that as opposed to down and distance and just that equation itself?
I think you need to take multiple things into account. There were some things in the passing game that once we saw how they were playing with a couple personnel groupings, we thought, we'd have a couple opportunities there. And so taking advantage of those opportunities we felt was our best way of moving the football. And, I think we did some good things in the pass game. As I said earlier, I just think we left a little bit of meat on the bone.
That was Todd Downing yesterday, and he's not wrong. We went back and we looked at all the third downs they didn't convert. And you got a Robert Woods drop in there. You got Tannehill throwing it late to Robert Woods on another one. You got a Jeff Swaim drop, which I blame on Todd Downing for putting Jeff Swaim in the game as much as they do. But the offensive numbers are not pretty. 32nd in the league, that's dead last in total offense. 29th in sacks. 31st in first downs per game. 28th in third down percentage. Now, they are first in the red zone in the NFL, but they take a huge hit with Ben Jones in concussion protocol, did not make the trip to Green Bay, out tomorrow. TD, what do we make first of the Jones injury? Then we'll get to the offense. TD's with us for the TD Power Hour. What do you make about the Jones injury and what they're going to do and how big of a loss that is?
Yeah, that's a huge loss, to be honest with you. Corey Levin's a capable player. He's a guy that I felt should have been around longer than he has. But look, man, Kenny Clark, Jaron Reed, these are some outstanding interior guys, man. And when you talk about Clark, pure strength. He has ox-like strength. So Corey Levin is going to have to anchor down and take that on, and that's going to be a tough job. But above all else, what they're missing, so Ben Jones that's the quarterback of that offensive line. He's the one that's making the calls and communicating and doing all the things. And then also it's an emotional part of it too. I mean, you see the way this guy plays and you see the way he is before games. He's the one, the offensive line, just like the whole team, they huddle around Jeffrey Simmons and he breaks them down. Well, after that, they go to the side right before they come back together again, and it's Ben Jones breaking them down. And let me tell you something, the last couple times, very, very emotional. So you're losing that part of it that's going to be tough to replace. But these guys are professionals. You have to be able to get up for a game like this regardless. But I think there's a lot you're losing, communication side of things and making those calls.
So you think Levin will go in at center, or do you think they'll move Brewer from left guard and then put Levin in at left guard?
I think Levin will go at center. But, this team has shuffled things in a much more crazy fashion before, so it wouldn't surprise me if they did that. But me personally, I would go, and no slight on Levin, but there's a drop-off going from Ben Jones to Levin. So I would have that drop-off rather than have a double drop. You see what I'm saying? Replace two starters. I would rather just replace one if it were me, but it's not.
TD, what do we make of the offensive struggles? I know Denver's got the number 2 defense in the league and they're first in points allowed. So we do need to take, the Denver performance with a huge grain of salt. And they still threw the ball for 250 yards. But just as a whole, it just feels like every week the offense never really seems to find comfortable consistency. What do you make of it?
Well, you're right. They haven't been able to find comfortable consistency, but a couple of things in regards to what you said earlier. Jeff Swaim being in the game, I don't necessarily put that on Todd Downing. They give the position coaches the liberty to rotate guys in. They have a good amount of input there, but, that's one where I think Okonkwo needs to be the target on that play. Mm-hmm. And we've seen what Chig has done. That catch he had making that guy bounce off him and racing down the field, that was a big-time catch. Really good throw by Tannehill. But I think, the red zone thing it's really cool. It's intriguing that they're tops in the league in red zone, but they got to find ways to get to the red zone more, and they're not getting to the red zone as much as a lot of other teams. So that number is going to be slightly skewed, just to, give some context to that. But the fact of the matter is the passing game has to balance out the rushing attack. At least 70-30, you know what I mean? 60-40, something like that, to where you're getting a balanced amount of production. Now, this past week, they did a good job. You have to remember, though, the Broncos were without Justin Simmons. So imagine the Titans without Kevin Byard. That's the equivalent as far as the pass coverage is concerned. So you have to consider that.
I think one of the things that bothers me about the way the offense is run is how much substituting they're doing. And I don't mind the idea of, 3rd and 9, Derrick Henry goes out, Dontrell Hilliard comes in. I get that. But it feels like a lot of the time, they really, really, have like one group of guys that are designated for run plays and one group of guys that are designated for pass plays. And they try to throw the other team off with that sometimes. But, Swaim is in there as a blocker at the tight end position. But I almost am now at the point, TD, where I'm like, put Chigakonkwo in those spots. Put Austin Hooper in those spots, because those guys can do more with the football in their hands. And I remember as a kid, and I'm not comparing these guys to Frank Wycheck, but Frank Wycheck didn't come out of the game. Derek Mason, even if they ran it, he wasn't coming out of the game for Eddie Berlin. Those guys stayed in the game. And with the Titans, it's like all new receivers and all new tight ends, come in all the time. And then it's 2nd and 8. Now Henry's out and Hilliard's in and Swaim's out, Hooper's in, and the other tight end, Rader's out, and Westbrook Akina's in. And it's like, it just feels like they do that more than other teams. Am I off base on that?
No, there's a lot of substitution. That's definitely the case. It's just, we're in an era where there's so much specialty, right? It used to be like you take in high school, right? I didn't play basketball, but I played football, track, and baseball, right? So like you played multiple sports, but now you even have a specialty within your sport where it's like, okay, well, I'm a good pass catcher, but I'm not as good of a blocker.
Yes.
I'm a good running back between the tackles, but I'm not a guy that you get involved in the passing game. Like, those things make it tougher as a play caller to not be predictable. And I think that's something that they are running into, but it's just one of those things you got to work around it.
Like, I just pulled up randomly. I went to the media website and just pulled up, 2019. And so I guess this week, 2019, was the Chiefs game, the Titans and the Chiefs, where Tannehill let them back. And I just wonder the percentage of snaps. That for the Titans are getting, Woods was getting 81% of the snaps, Westbrook Akine 77%. A.J. Brown got 94% of the snaps, Tajay Sharp got 80% of the snaps, Jonnu Smith got 78% of the snaps, whereas, it's 81-77 for the receivers, 61 for Hooper. There's a lot more of that on this team than even a couple years ago. And I wonder if that's really a good, like, does Cody Hollister need to be on the field that much?
Well, if it's not Julius Chestnut, it's Cody Hollister. Yeah, those are two of your favorite players, man. Hollister and Chestnut.
Hollister and Swaim are driving me crazy, TD.
It's Swaim, too. It's just their personnel packages. That's just how it's been dictated, man. And I can't really explain it, but I will continue to say that it's not just Todd Downing. It is the group. The position coaches have their input as far as rotating.
I wonder what you think when you watch the tape on this. I think that Tannehill and Robert Woods are struggling to find each other on the same page. And, I go back to, a third down they didn't convert against the Broncos where Tannehill threw it late to Woods. It was like Tannehill wanted to make sure he was open before he threw it. There was another third down where Tannehill didn't, Woods was wide open coming out of his break, And if Tannehill had trusted the anticipation, he would have put the ball out in front of him, and instead he checked it down. And there was one where Woods just dropped it, which he struggled with that a little bit this year. I know Robert Woods is a better player than he's been so far this year, and I know he's coming off the knee, but I just wonder if he and Tannehill are just struggling to get there. And that if they do get there, then I think he probably does become the number one receiver this team needs.
Yeah, I don't know that they're struggling to get there. It's, in my opinion, it's not as consistent. But I think you saw what it could be, right? You go back to the Raiders game, he ran that corner route. He planted on that left foot and exploded to the corner. And before he planted on that left foot, Tannehill had the ball out there. And he was able to just come out of his break and go get it. I think that's an example of them being on the same page. And if you look numbers-wise, so Woods has caught 24 out of 43 passes, and he's 2 for 4 from Malik Willis. So you could, kind of take a little bit out of that. He's 50% out of Malik Willis, over 50% with Tannehill. So I think it's there. It's just a matter of them just doing it more frequently, man. They have to find ways to, get these guys the football. But when you look at, snaps, I mean, they've played, between 58 and when's the last time they had a 70-snap game?
That's true.
And that's something that definitely takes away from opportunities for everybody. And so for guys like us, it's like, hey, man, why isn't Shaker Conkel getting the ball enough? Why isn't Derrick Henry getting over 20 carries? Why isn't Robert Wood? There's only so many opportunities to get these guys to football.
Yeah. TD is with us for the TD Power Hour. Get your questions in for TD at the end of the hour, 615-737-1025. I will say this. The defense has become an elite defense. And I know they rank 23rd in the NFL, but I'm not worried about that. Even Aaron Rodgers knows they're an elite defense. We'll get TD's thoughts on what he's seeing out of the defense, where there could be some room for improvement, and what he makes of it. We'll get to that coming up next. TD Power Hour. Tehran's with us for this hour, a special edition on a Wednesday with Thursday Night Football tomorrow. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes!
Tune in to Robbie and Rex Road every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yossi.
Matt Duchene.
Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift giving easy.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is here this weekend. It's an extraordinary event with savings up to 35% store-wide. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day store-wide event. Acclaimed designers are here with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's this Friday, Saturday, and yes, even open Sunday for this incredible event. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Ajax Turner Company, Middle Tennessee's Anheuser-Busch distributor, is hiring full-time warehouse order pickers, forklift drivers, merchandisers, delivery, and more. Pay rates have increased, and new hires will now be eligible for a $500 sign-on bonus. This is more than seasonal work. This is a career with year-round stability and promotional opportunities. Go to ajaxturner.com/careers to apply, or call 615-280-3904 for further details about open positions. Please remember to drink responsibly.
Coming up on the Thursday edition of Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, we're live from Bridgestone Arena as the Predators will take on the Islanders. We'll have silly underdog picks at noon, and our weekly chat with Elliot Friedman at 1 o'clock. Plus, get you ready for Titans and Packers. All starts at 10 on 105. This is the game.
Hey, Smashville, this is Sean Henry. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Stillman and Company, it's the TD Power Hour. Teron Davenport is with us. Aaron Rodgers was asked about the Titan defense, talking about, hey, it's a Mike Vrabel defense. This was Aaron Rodgers talking about the Titans defense yesterday ahead of Thursday Night Football.
What can you expect from the Mike Vrabel defense?
I mean, they're pretty sound. They play really hard. They got like 29 sacks, 3 guys with 5+ sacks. They're number 1 in the league in third down, top 10 in the red zone. There's not a lot of big holes out there. They obviously, played good against Denver, held them at 10 points. They're a tough team. They got some great players up front. Stout guys in the middle. Simmons is a baller. Real good guys off the edge. Solid inside at linebacker. The back end plays really well together. So it's a toughness that Mike brings. And the expectations, I'm sure, for them are really, really high. I keep in touch with Mike throughout the year, and they lost their first 2 games, and I think, just like happens in this league, there's probably overreactions and what the hell's going on and what are we going to do, and I think they rattled off 5 or 6 wins in a row and kind of quieted everybody out, but they obviously have a really good football team, and Mike's a great coach.
TD, as they would say at the barbershop in Queens, my T Sharp, he ain't lying. And so Aaron Rodgers is right. And I got to tell you, as a Titan fan, TD, I love this defense. I do. I know they're ranked 23rd in the league, but I love this defense. Every week, I think I love this defense just a little bit more. TD, what do you see when you see this defense?
Yeah, there's a lot to like about the defense, and it all starts up front, and that's really the bread and butter. We touched on it earlier. And look at the Broncos game. They got 18 pressures, man. 18. Mm-hmm. That's an outstanding amount. And they've had, this is what, their 3rd or 4th consecutive game with at least 3 sacks and 1 interception. They're balancing it out, man, and they're turning the football over. But it's impossible to run against them. And that starts with, listen, Tierra Tart, hey, listen, that guy he's playing outstanding football, getting in that backfield, either getting the tackle for a loss or redirecting the running back to where somebody else can come in and get him. And then you look at David Long, just patrolling, the second level of the defense. And watch him, Jared. Next time you watch the end zone version of All 22, watch the way he just kind of it's a lot like a car weaving through traffic. Mm-hmm. That's how he just works his way around offensively. They try to get their hands on him, but they can't because he's just real swift and dips and dodges them, and he gets in position to make plays. So, I mean, this defense is fun to watch. Even you look at the cornerbacks are starting to get after it a little bit. Andrew Adams, we have our thoughts on how well he tackles. So you got that, and my goodness, Dylan Cole is playing well. So it's just all aspects of it. Rashad Weaver is, he's coming along.
He drives me crazy,
Edwards,
TD.
Huh?
Weaver drives me crazy.
Here's the thing. I don't think he plays as undisciplined as you might think. A lot of times when you see him giving up that edge, just double check and see if there's an inside backer that's supposed to loop over top. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes it is his job to crash down the way he is. So I get it, though. I get it because, you look at the Mahomes touchdown, you would think that was probably on him, but apparently it wasn't.
But I thought the two plays that encapsulated Weaver perfectly. He sacks Russell Wilson and forces a fumble to basically end the game. And then on the next play on fourth down, he's lined up off sides. It's like, Now, Weaver to me is like a baseball player. Like, do you remember Matt Stairs? Like one of these guys.
Yes, strike out a home run.
A pinch hitter off the bench. Like, he might hit it 500 feet. He might strike out on 3 pitches. Like, that's just what it is with him. But you said it starts up front. I'm going to disagree with you slightly. I think it starts with the coach. I think that this defense is like it. All these guys play like he played when he was a player. Even the good players like Simmons, the guys with the high-end talent, like everybody is supposed to be where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there. Nobody is selling out to get stats for the team. Everybody is, they as a defense, they play so disciplined. And there was one play I saw in the Denver game that I thought encapsulated this, which was, Denver runs the ball in one of the gaps, and Dylan Cole's there, and he doesn't make the tackle. And Dylan Cole's a good tackler, but I think we would say, like, Dylan Cole is not Ray Lewis when it comes to talent. And so Dylan Cole doesn't make the tackle, but the running back then tries to bounce it into the next gap, and there's a guy right there ready to make the tackle because everybody was where they were supposed to be, and that is what Vrabel was as a player. And those are the things that, like, TD, when I watch this defense, I'm like, I salute this defense, that they do what they're supposed to do 95% of the time. And I don't think people understand how hard that is in the NFL to get a whole defense to do that.
Yeah, if you're talking about overall, absolutely, it starts with the coach. And you know me, I will rave about what I see him doing, but also the other guys, how it transfers to game day. So sure. I'm with you there. But the thing that's really I like about that is you talk about Dylan Cole sacrificing himself. Later on in the game, guess what happened? Danico Autry rushed the passer. He attacked the outside shoulder of the tackle to get him to turn, and he almost got to the quarterback, made Russell Wilson step up, and guess who flashes right by him because there's an open rushing lane to get the sack? Dylan Cole. Mm-hmm. You see how karma works?
Oh, yeah.
What goes around comes around, and that's positive karma, by the way. And that's the thing that to your point, you talk about starting from the coach, effort and finish, that's their mentality. And then also, even the Patriot way, right? Do your job.
Yep.
To your point about everybody being in the right position.
Well, it's like that point, too, about the Cole sack, that if Autry does what he's supposed to do, he may not get the sack. But if Cole does what he's supposed to do after Autry does what he's supposed to do, then Russell Wilson runs right into him for a sack. And that's where I think this defense is connected. Now, that being said, I think that the Titans have the defensive front to frustrate Aaron Rodgers. And we already know Aaron is frustrated with everything in Green Bay, with the receivers, with the coach. And I think that right now, this defensive line, like we saw them frustrate Mahomes to an extent, but I think that this is the big challenge for me with the D-line is, can you do it to Rodgers too? Because I think it's set up for them to be able to rush the passer and stop the run, which Dallas couldn't do on Sunday. They can rush the passer, but they couldn't stop the run.
Yeah, and the thing is, it continues to be, even with Jeffrey Simmons and Bud Dupree out, it continues to be rush with 4 and impact the quarterback with 4. Mm-hmm. They're able to drop 7 back into coverage. Now, you did see, if you noticed, when Elijah Molden was healthy, that joker was coming on some blitzes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you do have that aspect. But you're right, to be able to play the run and the pass the same is really important. And that's why you see, you know, some of these big nickel looks, which they could still go to that with Josh Kalu, even though Lonnie Johnson Jr. and Amani Hooker are out. They could still go to their big nickel looks and be fine. And that's one of the solid things about this team is their defensive backs tackle so well, including their cornerbacks. They want to come up and tackle. But here's the thing, Jared. They cannot continue to give up the explosive plays.
Yep. It
reared its ugly head again on Sunday against the Broncos. They have to stop allowing explosive plays in the passing game. And they have a guy, they meaning the Packers, have a guy that he can get after it. And he has a lot of gas and he's big. And he's coming into this game with a lot of confidence after that 3-touchdown performance. And that's Christian Watson. So they have to be careful how they cover him.
By the way, I want to give an award, the Deontay Foreman, why the hell wasn't this guy on somebody else's team award, to Mario Edwards Jr., because he's a baller.
Practice squad with the Jaguars. I mean, what the heck?
That's like last year with Deontay Foreman. It's like, yeah, you know, he was with the Falcons a little bit in training camp, and then they cut him. And it's like, that guy?
Yeah. And, you know, Jared, I'm going to tell you, because I asked him that. Because here's a funny thing also. DeMarcus Walker, he was on the practice squad, and he came in.
He's awesome,
obviously, at camp, you know, and he's done a great job. When he was coming out of Florida State, his NFL comp was Mario Edwards.
Yes.
Yeah. So I asked both of them about that. But in that conversation, I asked Mario Edwards about just why is it that you came from a practice squad and you're having the production that you're having. And he said, first and foremost, they know how to use people here. Mm-hmm. You know what DeMarcus Walker said? It's fun playing with this team. I don't know. A.J. Brown said it wasn't fun playing, but, you know, that's a different conversation.
TD's with us. We're right to your phones. Your questions for TD, 615-737-1025. He's in Green Bay, and we'll be on SportsCenter tomorrow at 11 a.m. Everybody set your DVRs for TD on SportsCenter. Questions for TD next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:45. Come on. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:45 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Well, it's going to be another cold night for us with low temperatures falling to the low to mid-20s. Tomorrow we should be mostly sunny, but highs only go into the mid-40s. Friday through the weekend, we'll see mostly sunny skies with highs in the lower 40s. For Fox 17, I'm meteorologist Brett Luna.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Did somebody say flatbreads? If you haven't already, you need to get to Twin Peaks and try out their new in-house made flatbreads. 4 options including the Hottie Jalapeno Popper, Hawaii 5-0, the Italian, and the OG Pepperoni. Ask your Twin Peaks girl for more details and availability.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Steve is intrigued by the paranormal.
Otherworldly spirits really make a house a home, you know?
Janice has different taste.
I'd like my house to not be haunted.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle home and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Steve and Janice found a renovated Victorian that's only haunted from 9 to 5.
Okay, wife's home. Y'all gotta bounce.
Bye, Steve. Bundling without compromise at geico.com.
Chronic joint pain has a snowball effect. It's not just the pain.
What that did is just make me depressed that I couldn't get back into the gym, and I was inactive, gaining weight. I had to find another alternative.
And for Chad, that alternative was QC Kinetics and the non-surgical natural biologic treatments that can give lasting relief to aching hips, shoulders, knees, and backs.
Once they explained it, it made sense. Putting what we have inside our body back into us in a certain strategic way to heal up in a natural process was fantastic.
QC Kinetics treatments take place right in the office. No downtime, no surgery. And as for the outcome,
I'm just back to bouncing around, having fun, doing my work, living pain-free.
Don't let chronic joint pain rob you of your quality of life. Discover advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year,
Joe Rexroad.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Let's go to key number 2 in our Nissan keys, and this is all about Lambeau.
Yeah, I mean, it's a historic place. It's Thursday night. It's primetime football. It's two good football teams. It's the only show in town. That place is packed. It's a very unique place when you go in there, just the history and the lore around that stadium. Their fans, they'll be greased up on Milwaukee's best, and they'll be playing House of Pain, jumping around. We've got to handle all that stuff. It's going to be cold. Got to handle all the elements and be ready for what we're walking into.
It will be cold tomorrow. I will be there in the stands, freezing my tail off. TD will be there, dressed. I bet this is like one of the best TD outfits of the season because he's going to be on TV.
I'm looking forward to it.
So TD will be in the press box, but then when TD transitions down to the field, he will be freezing his tail off too. TD, time for questions. The Teron Davenport Power Hour presented by Craneworks and Rental Works. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Lead us off.
One texter texts in and says, TD, what are the weaknesses in the Packers' defense that the Titans will look to attack on offense?
Good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. I think, you could run the football on them. There are opportunities to run on to the outside. Not having Rashawn Gary, he's on IR. Not having him, that really weakens the defense. And Preston Smith is questionable. So for me, it would be all about, running stretch, those type of runs, to get to the outside. But it's going to be tough, with that zone blocking scheme as far as like the cutbacks and those things, because they're really solid on the interior, and Jerron Reed and Kenny Clark.
By the way, to TD's point, they are 27th in the league in rush yards per play at 4.8 yards a crack. So make of that what you will.
Bodes well for the Titans. Canadian Titan text says that the Titans enjoyed one of their best passing games of the season, throwing 36 times against the best pass D in the NFL. Do you think the success came because Denver was so focused on Henry, or do you think this could be a sign of things starting to click in the passing game?
I think it's a combination of the two. They definitely were. They had their safeties closer to the box, right, closer to the line of scrimmage. So that absolutely made it easier to pass. But you have to remember, Justin Simmons was not in the game. We talked about it earlier, and that's the equivalent of taking Kevin Byard out of the Titans secondary. So that's a big part of it. And let's not forget, 63 of those yards, was it 65? 60-plus of those yards came on a flea flicker. So, that's not something you're going to be able to execute each and every week.
Not just a flea flicker where the two guys from Denver ran into each other and fell down. I don't know what happened on that play that led to those guys falling down, but 63 yards on the flea flicker to be
63, yeah.
To be precise there.
Another texter texts in, the Florida Titan, not the Canadian Titan. I believe TD has hit on something with regards to the perception of the Titans' defense and philosophy versus the offense and philosophy. Even outside players recognize and embrace the good systems versus the bad systems on the team. It'll be hard to attract top-notch offensive players to the Titans under this OC and philosophy. Your thoughts, TD?
Well, to be honest with you, they're not really going to have the money to sign offensive free agents because the money is on defense. So I think you look at that. Andre Dillard is a guy I would definitely look at signing. And you guys know I've mentioned his name since September as someone the Titans should look at. But I don't really see them making moves in free agency. So it's not really going to be critical for that scheme to be one that people want to come play for. They're going to continue to try to build through the draft.
I think two things. One, I think that Chig Okonkwo gets better every week, and that at some point he will be ready to take over as the number one tight end. And I don't know if Chig if they're bringing him along slowly or if, they don't want to overload him or whatever it may be. But those big plays that he's had each of the last 2 weeks, that's what Jonnu Smith was starting to do when Jonnu Smith started to break through.
Yep.
So I think that's a big step in the right direction for the offense. And I think the other thing, too, to TD's, to the point about the defense and the philosophy and using guys right, TD, I was actually thinking about this in the last segment when we were talking about defense. I think what happens is Vrabel got here, and there were some guys that played the way that Vrabel wanted and had what Vrabel wanted in guys, and other guys who didn't. For instance, Adoree Jackson. Adoree's not a bad football player, but I'm not sure that
he's thriving with the Giants.
Yeah, I don't think he's a Vrabel kind of player. Rashawn Evans, I think everything they drafted Rashawn Evans to be is what David Long Jr. is. Yep. And so now I feel like this is really like Vrabel's defense, and everybody that comes in is either going to fit in to the way Vrabel wants them to play and play Vrabel ball, or they won't be here. And now they've built up guys like Tier Tart, like Amani Hooker, like even Terrence Mitchell, and they've built these guys up into great players because they play the way Vrabel wants them to play.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with you. Absolutely.
Belvis texts in, says, TD, I know that we're working Burks back in, but why isn't he more involved? Easy hitches or screens to get him going, and Tannehill confidence in him.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you're going to continue to see. And everybody looks at the flea flicker, right? But go to the play before it. They break the huddle. Traylon Burks lines up on the left side. He goes in motion from left to right. He's number one on the right. Yeah, Robert Woods is number two. Chig Okonkwo is number three. Robert Woods runs a clear-out route. Chig runs a crosser just like he did on the big catch, the long catch he had. And they slip Traylon Burks right underneath. Catch and run, total of 15 yards. That's exactly what they need to continue doing with a guy like Burks. Get the ball in his hands quickly, let him do something with it. And that's an example of the effort that they're putting forth to get him involved that way.
You know what Traylon Burks needs to stop doing because he's done it twice now this year? Jumping when the ball is coming to him.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, you know what that is? And I'm glad you mentioned that because that reminded me. I meant to talk to him about it yesterday. When you jump when the football is coming to you, that means typically that you're not confident catching the football. Mm-hmm. To contrary, and not to get A.J. Brown in the mix, but remember what he used to do on those crossing routes. He's not jumping. He's running through the catch. He's actually – the ball is going to a point. He's accelerating through it, and that's what allows him to catch and run that way. Terry Glenn, rest in peace, used to jump and catch the ball all the time. Vernon Davis used to jump and catch the ball all the time because they weren't confident in their catching ability.
Another texter texts in, asks TD, why don't the Titans try to do more two running back sets on offense? Every single team in the NFL knows when Derrick Henry runs off the field and Hilliard runs on.
Yeah, they did start to go to that look multiple times. I'll see if I can look it up real quick to find out how many. But that last game, you did see that multiple times where you saw the two of them. And, I could look it up, and it's going to go two back. But Torrey Carter was in there at times too, so it's going to be jaded. But they started to do that, and you started to see them. You look at the Commanders game, and you look at what was the other game? I think it was the Colts game at home where they slipped Hilliard the ball, and it was like a 15-yard rushing play. So they're starting to do it, but, I mean, again, it goes back to what we talked about, snap counts. When you're not getting consistently over 60 snaps, it's tough to get to all these packages.
TD, I'm going to need you to have a discussion with our friends Derek Mason and Chris Sanders and have them give Austin Hooper just a little bit of credit, because those guys – you know, Hooper had 3 big catches in the Colts game. I'm like, he deserves some more opportunities. Hooper's starting to come along. And all Derek and Chris do is yell.
Listen, I said to I did not – I had to double-check the jersey number on that catch on the left sideline, the contested catch, and then he had 2 guys bounce off of him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that was 81? And sure enough, it was, man.
That's all I'm asking. Talking with TD is out. I'm going to download it, listen to it on my way to Green Bay tomorrow. Rob Domofsky's on there. He's been covering the Packers for ESPN for forever, so got great insight, TD. Really excited about it. TV tomorrow for TD at 11 o'clock on SportsCenter. Set your DVRs. TD, great stuff. Enjoy the game. We'll look forward to your breakdowns afterwards. We'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate it. You're more excited about that than me, man. I appreciate the energy.
That's all right. I do get excited to TD joining us. I do get excited when, like, especially because, like, I'll watch SportsCenter when I'm, like, working out, and they put TD on TV. I'm like, I know him.
That's my friend.
Know him. There you go. It's like Santa. It's like, you know, I know him. Speaking of people I know, Joe Rexroad is already mad at me. I don't know why. So Jared versus Joe. This is like an all-star cast today with everything jammed. I feel like we're like the players. Because, you know, everyone's like, well, you know, on Thursday, you know, it's a quick turnaround, and so we got to put in a couple days all at one time. And so it's like we got Chris Sanders, Fitz, TD's Power Hour, Jared versus Joe, and then tomorrow's everything's just all crammed in, just like the players.
Got a full car wash, I guess, today.
What I feel like, Jared versus Joe. I'm sure we will debate Tannehill. I'm sure we will debate the Packers game. I'm sure we'll debate all kinds of things, and we'll do that coming up next. 615-737-1025, and here's your keyword to win some wrestling tickets for Monday Night Raw on January 2nd. You have got to remember this keyword in order to tell Ian in the 5 o'clock hour. When I tell you to call Ian, you got to remember this keyword, and the keyword is hurricane. And so when you remember that keyword for WWE, you'll be going to Monday Night Raw at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m., and that's January 2nd. So remember that keyword for the 5 o'clock hour. Jared versus Joe is next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch the game. We talk the game.
The college football playoff rankings, Tennessee, the #1 team in the country.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
When it comes to sports, it's all happening right now. Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Football, basketball, hockey, and soon enough, the World Cup. And there's no better place to wager on all of that than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it's time to get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today, just like me. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture, Nashville's locally owned furniture store. They started their business with one customer and one sofa. The owners work in the store daily to ensure their customers get the best treatment possible. Social Furniture offers same-day delivery and installation. Good credit or bad credit, they finance interest-free. A huge in-stock inventory. And now for a limited time during their Black Friday sale, take an extra 20% off. Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture. Why go anywhere else?
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening this weekend. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers here from LA and New York with their entire collections, all on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also marked down. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Mount Juliet now has a new Dunkin' store, and the game invites you to join us this Friday morning for their grand opening at 2234 North Mount Juliet Road. We'll be there with Predators tickets to give away, plus lots of free stuff. That's this Friday morning at the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air. The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. One day away from Thursday night football, the Titans and the Packers. And I don't know why I'm so jazzed up. I truly don't know why.
You are awfully giddy.
I am free. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm going to the game, which I'm super excited
Probably
about.
so.
Or if it's just like it's Thursday night against the Packers.
In Lambeau.
I remember a couple years ago when the Titans were starting to kind of turn a corner a little bit. They played a Thursday night game on NBC against the Steelers. And it was like, that was a real game. Whereas normally the Titans were relegated to NFL Network, Thursday night football against the Jags. And the Jags would wear those mustard-looking uniforms, and the Titans would wear their all-blue uniforms, which you know I hate. And so those used to dress
color rush.
The color rush. It just felt so. It's like, okay, yeah, here's the Titans on Thursday night football because we have to put the Titans on Thursday night football. Kind of like last week, Atlanta, Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like,
let's just get the crap teams over with.
Here's Atlanta, Carolina. Let's go ahead and put Atlanta, Carolina on Thursday night football. Fun fact: Peter King actually reported this when the schedule came out, that the computer systems for the NFL that do the schedule kept spitting out the Jets and the Packers as the Thursday night matchup in order to make it work. But because Amazon was paying so much money, they wanted to give Amazon a better game. So they decided that they were going to give them the Titans and the Packers, which is why the Titans are the only team that has 2 Thursday night football games. The Cowboys technically have 2 Thursday games, but one of theirs is the traditional Thanksgiving game. Mm-hmm. So the Titans and the Cowboys are the only 2 teams that play twice on Thursday. And apparently that is because, the computers kept spitting out Jets and Packers, but they wanted to give Amazon a better game, so they put the Titans on there. And I think if the Packers lose, I think the Packers are done. I think the Packers are out of it. And if the Titans win, I think it is a big moment for Buffalo and Kansas City to be like, okay, we have elite quarterbacks, but that defense might be really, really good. And we already saw they took Kansas City to the wire with a backup quarterback. So here you go. And so I think that's a big deal. Now, one thing that did tickle my fancy was, I take the Coach's Show very seriously, the TV show that they have.
Yeah.
And each of the last 2 weeks, they've had defensive keys. And Mike Vrabel has given the keys out on the TV show, and the defense has done them to a T. And I enjoy that. When the coach goes on the TV show on Monday, the players don't even show up until Wednesday. So he's already put the game plan together, but he hasn't even given the game plan to the players on Monday. And he's telling the players, hey, in order to beat Kansas City, you're going to have to string out these drives for them on offense. And that's what happened. When Kansas City scored, it was 13 plays, 9 plays, 9 plays, 13 plays. It's like Kansas City had to earn it. Then last week it was stop the run, 2.5 yards a carry for the Broncos. So they did their jobs. Well, Vrabel wasn't doing the coach's show because they play on Thursday Night Football, which means that John Robinson was in. And I love John Robinson. And John Robinson is skinny now. I don't know what happened, but apparently he's lost 40 pounds.
Good for
him.
him.
I just haven't seen John, but he was on the coach's TV show, and I mean, he was looking lean and mean. And I knew with John Robinson doing the keys to the game that we were not going to get like a good key to the game. In fact, his second key to the game yesterday on the pregame show, or excuse me, on the coach's TV show, was Lambeau Field as a key to the game.
Let's go to key number 2 in our Nissan keys, and this is all about Lambeau.
Yeah, I mean, it's a historic place. It's Thursday night. It's primetime football. It's two good football teams. It's the only show in town. That place is packed. It's a very unique place when you go in there, just the history and the lore around that stadium. Their fans, they'll be greased up on Milwaukee's best, and they'll be playing House of Pain, jumping around. We've got to handle all that stuff. It's going to be cold. Got to handle all the elements and be ready for what we're walking into.
That's not really a key to the game.
Being able to handle the weather and the environment, I guess that's a key to every game. But it's more highlighted here.
Vrabel's not sitting there in the auditorium telling the guys, like, hey, now, they're going to be drinking Milwaukee's best out there. We got to be able to handle that on Thursday night.
No.
Not like Vrabel's saying against Kansas City, hey, if they're going to go down the field in 18 plays and score a touchdown, then shake their hands. And if they're going to beat us with Juju Smith-Schuster and not Travis Kelce, then congratulations to them. That's what I'm talking about. But have no fear. Because Jeffrey Simmons and Kevin Byard were talking yesterday, and I think I know what Mike Vrabel's key to the game is for the defense.
I think it's key for them, man. Honestly, like you said, man, he might not be having the same stats that he's had the past careers with an MVP, but we're going to have to stop the run. I mean, I think as of right now, their two best players, I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers is their best player, but best skilled players is going to be in the backfield with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. They're going to get them the ball as much as they possibly can. The three out of 4 games they won, they ran for over 200 yards. So the big key in this game is going to be our rush defense versus their rush offense, which are both pretty good.
It starts with the run game. They have a great run game with 2 good running backs who run the ball hard, and they gonna get the ball to them a lot. So our goal is to stop the run first and then affect the quarterback.
I mean, they just said, come out, say it.
Stop the run.
I mean, they just coming out. And it's funny because last week, Vrabel on the coach's show was talking about stopping the run with the Broncos. And I'm like, who cares about stopping the run with Melvin Gordon? This is not 2017. The old Melvin Gordon. Like, who cares about Melvin Gordon and Latavius Murray and Chase Edmonds and Mike Boone? Like, who cares about stopping the run with those guys? And yet, they did. Like, they stopped the run, and the Broncos got nothing. And so now I'm looking at the Packers, and they ran Aaron Jones 24 times on Sunday against the Cowboys. And the Cowboys, who have this great pass rush with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence and all these guys, they didn't really get to pass rush. And Mike McCarthy said, we didn't get to pass rush because they just kept running the ball on us. And Green Bay, 7th in the league in rush yards per play. Green Bay is averaging 129.3 rush yards per game, which is 12th. And they really do operate on the run. And so while I think of Green Bay, and I'm like, Aaron Rodgers, and now Christian Watson just had 3 touchdowns, and they've got Sammy Watkins, who killed the Titans in the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago, and all these things, that I would be thinking about. And here's Vrabel just telling the guys, stop the run, stop the run, stop the run. And I think it is so funny with how well, I said this yesterday, that I appreciate the fact that the coach can have the key to the game. He can go to the defense and tell them what the key to the game is. And the defense can take it to heart. and then go out there on 2 consecutive Sundays, the last 2 Sundays, and follow that game plan to a T and be successful doing it. You know, I enjoy watching that. It's like these guys that pay like $3 million for a Renoir painting. I'm not interested in that. But those people are. That's how I feel about a well-coached defense. You know, I'm like, I will raise a glass to a well-coached defense. And so here you go. The Titans are on a short week. That was on day 2. That was Tuesday yesterday that Simmons said that, that Byard said that. And the coach already has it stuck in the brains of those guys. Hey, we're stopping the run this week. Whatever you do, we're stopping the run. Stopping the run, stopping the run, stopping the run, stopping the run. And it's like, I feel great. I do, and I just think it's funny that John Robinson does the TV show and just doesn't want to say anything. I mean, his 3 keys were tackle.
Which, yes.
Tackle. Lambeau. And play complimentary football.
So basically, 2 things that you do anyway, or you should do in every game, and another thing that is a factor in also every road game.
That is just
don't let the environment get ahead of you.
It was like, you know, with Vrabel, and I worry about getting too excited about this because I feel like if I keep talking about how his keys, I don't watch the coaches show. The way they do it is they have the Vrabel 6-pack where they go over the 6 plays from the game. Mm-hmm. I don't really watch that. And then because that comes on Tuesday night, and on Wednesday everybody's moved off the last game. They're on to the next game. So, like, whatever.
Right.
Then there's always, like, you know, community bits in there. Like, you know, the Take a Titan to School campaign
which is
today
very sweet.
Was Mario Edwards Jr. went to Johnson Elementary and read to them, "Go Dog Go." And so they stick that in there. And, like, that's great. But, you know, we're not talking about Go Dog Go on the radio during the football season.
I don't need to hear about Clifford.
And then, Clifford. And then it's the keys to the game. And Vrabel, like, gives you the real keys to the game. Like, what is expectation? What he wants them to do.
Which actually is kind of surprising.
I know.
That it really does feel like you are getting a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of exactly how he's thinking before this game. And it makes sense. And it's not something dumb like Lambeau.
Right. And so it makes me feel like if we highlight the fact that Vrabel's actually telling us the game plan in the keys to the game.
Then we should listen.
That he's going to stop doing it. Because it's like, oh, you're giving away too much information on the coach's TV show, Mike.
But, like, also some of it might be a little obvious. To be completely honest with you, hearing both Kevin Byard and Jeffrey Simmons say that their number one focus is stopping the run, that's a little bit of a surprise to me. But, I mean, if you're going up against Indianapolis and it's let's stop the run, like, duh.
I know. But they're not always the obvious ones.
No, like stopping the run against the Packers.
Right.
That's not obvious.
What Byard answered there in that cut was a question about Aaron Rodgers. So it was like, you know, going against Aaron Rodgers.
Reigning MVP.
And he was like, yeah, but we got to stop the run. And then there's Simmons talking about our first goal is to stop the run. Mm-hmm. So, like, I know what the game plan is. And you know what? Like, you got to be really freaking good to be like, we're going to tell you the game plan.
And you're going to know it, and we're going to do it anyway.
You got to stop it.
Yeah.
And so I hope Vrabel doesn't change it. But Robinson, man, he's not giving anybody anything that could be anything. So that's how we end up with keys to the game. For But congratulations to John Robinson for losing 40 pounds. You know, that is, you know, I mean, he was looking lean and mean.
Good for him.
On the TV show. And by the way, news too, you're welcome. Not only do we have Corey on every week, but there can't be a better advertisement for the Coach's TV show than what we do on this show. I mean, we've been doing this for 3 weeks. It feels like talking about the TV show, the Mike Vrabel Show, which they couldn't come up with a more creative name than the Mike Vrabel Show.
Well, what else should it be?
Vrabel Talk.
Football with Mike.
It used to be Monday Night Live with Jeff Fisher. In fact, I remember in 2003, I used to watch Monday Night Live with Jeff Fisher. I'd come home from school. I would not do my homework, and then it would be I'd watch PTI and Around the Horn, Monday Night Live with Jeff Fisher, and then Monday Night Football would come on. And I remember one year that Jeff Fisher put on the injury report Lamont Thompson, Jason Gesser, and Ryan Long, all with chest injuries because they all went to Washington State, and Washington State had lost to USC. So he was talking about how their hearts were broken because they lost to his college. So that's how far back I go with the coach's show.
Corny.
So I will say this, though. I do enjoy this coach's show. Do not change the keys, Mike. We don't want the John Robinson keys anymore. They're too boring. They're not interesting. They're just generic.
Complimentary
We
football.
want your keys, Mike. 615-737-1025. If you wonder where Joe is for Jared versus Joe, we're working out a phone issue right now. I don't know what happened. That's above my pay grade. 615-737-1025. Plus, the great Aaron Rodgers question that I have for everybody. We'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in. Again, you're going to have to do it via the text line because obviously our phones are out. 615-737-1025 is the number if you want to weigh in. And let me tell all the fine folks in there about Pred's Pick to Click. That's right. Do not miss your opportunity with a weekday game this season to participate in Pred's Pick to Click, brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. If you guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game that night, you will win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Your next chance to participate is tomorrow morning at 8:45 with Robbie and Rexroad.
185! Every team needs a quarterback. 185! That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirit and Wine in Bellevue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention hockey fans, come see Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic in a matchup of two of the NCAA's top 20 ranked college teams at Bridgestone Arena Friday, November 25th, 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin. Northeastern Huskies versus the Western Michigan Broncos in Nashville, November 25th.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Start NFL Week 11 off with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. And a same-game parlay is the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout. I'm going to go, I think the passing total is going to be low for Tannehill. I'm going to say over passing for Tannehill and over passing for Aaron Rodgers as well. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play it, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with the promo code JGM if you don't already have an account. If you already have a FanDuel account, you're all set. Just sign up to see what you've got. And make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs. Minimum $1 bet required. Refund issues, non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Never miss a moment of the show. What is this? Check it out. Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
What were you so upset about at the last drive of regulation there coming off?
Just every single play call, probably.
Is there a reason those play calls were upsetting to you?
Yeah, I felt like we were like 30 yards from end of the game in regulation. And also felt like it was 2 minutes, so I was going to be calling those, and I was in a pretty good rhythm. Obviously didn't have a ton of attempts tonight, but I felt like I was in a pretty good rhythm. I felt like I threw the ball just about exactly where I wanted to tonight. And so I wanted a chance to go win the game.
That was Aaron Rodgers after the game. Now, he said the next day that he and Matt LaFleur, there's nothing, we're buddy-buddy. Even he was mad at the play calls. You know, it's all good, no worries. But,
yeah, right.
I've been thinking about something. Aaron Rodgers was talking to Pat McAfee yesterday about how, Braves and I are good buddies. Even mentioned on the Pat McAfee show that Braves will knock down a heater every now and then.
I've seen it.
Can confirm.
Can confirm.
So
I heard that and chuckled this morning.
So, they're buddy-buddy. Now, let's remember the spring when we reported that Aaron Rodgers was building a home in Williamson County.
Raw land.
And that Aaron Rodgers was open to joining the Titans. And boy, did that sucker blow up.
Oh, yeah.
That thing blew up. That was everywhere.
Pat McAfee show.
New York Post. Everywhere. It was everywhere. And so, I got buddies in college that were like, I was on TikTok and I saw your face on the...
No way.
All kinds of stuff.
Your face was on the talk?
Pretty
You've
good
made it.
So, it just blew up. And then Aaron, the reports came out that the Titans were going with Tannehill, but if Rodgers came available, they'd be interested. And Adam Schefter reported that the Titans did dip their toes in on Rodgers. Whether or not it was true, who knows? I don't know. Florio reported the week before Rodgers decided to pick the Packers, Florio reported that the Titans were in wait-and-see mode. That if Rodgers came to them, then they would adjust. But that they weren't like Denver, who was rolling out the red carpet for Aaron Rodgers. Now, we know Denver sucks, and we know Nathaniel Hackett can't coach, so forget about them. Because I do think they were probably second for Rodgers, in the war. But, again, they stink. So we know that if Aaron could do it again, he would not go to Denver. If Aaron could do it again, do you think Aaron would choose to be on the Titans tomorrow night, or do you think he would have chosen to stay in Green Bay? And if the Titans got the choice, do you think that they would choose to stay with Tannehill, or do you think that they would rather have Aaron Rodgers be their quarterback?
I'll start with the Titans. If you could have Aaron Rodgers, you would. So, period.
Even though Vrabel would not put up with his crap.
Well, that didn't stop us from wanting Aaron Rodgers before.
Oh, no.
It's not like his crap has suddenly increased.
But his winning has decreased.
But is that because of him?
But the crap matters more when you lose.
But to the question about would Aaron Rodgers be here? What was Aaron Rodgers' biggest frustration with the organization?
That they drafted Jordan Love.
Okay, well, second frustration. I guess he sort of been frustrated with drafting Malik Willis if they would have done that.
They would have drafted.
But also, if the Titans had Aaron Rodgers, would they have traded away A.J. Brown?
No.
Probably not.
No way they would have traded away A.J. Brown.
But his biggest frustration was the fact that they were not drafting him wide receivers, that they had no pass catchers.
This is just my interpretation
that they
of
drafted
Aaron.
a backup quarterback and not a receiver.
This is my interpretation of Aaron. Because Aaron wasn't mad that they traded away Devontae Adams.
I think he understood.
No, they said that when it happened, because Aaron decided to go there, and then 2 weeks later they traded Adams. And it was like Aaron knew this was coming. So Aaron was obviously looped in with Adams and looped in with the Packers. Aaron says that he was mad that the Packers did not include him in big decisions, that he felt like he had done enough that they should just respect his input for big organizational decisions. That's what Aaron said. The reality is Aaron was mad that they drafted the quarterback. Aaron could try to justify his pettiness as much as possible. Aaron has a track record.
Well, of course, he's a
of
narcissist.
Being such a freaking baby.
He's a narcissist. He is going to do whatever is best for him, and then he's going to turn around and tell everybody, I'm innocent. They're not doing it for me.
So that goes back to the Titans angle of this.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't think that Vrabel would have been like. I mean, if he had come here, they would have been under like there would have been different standards here than there are in Green Bay. Like what he said at that podium on Sunday about the what was it that you didn't like in the second half? Every play call, that's not going to fly. That does not fly with this team. So it would have been like if Rodgers had called Vrabel, and we don't know if Rodgers didn't do this. Like the two things that are abundantly clear are the two star quarterbacks that the Titans have kind of been linked to over the last couple of years in regards to Tannehill are apparently both buddy-buddy with the coach. And Rodgers said yesterday that he texts Vrabel all the time. And so we don't know that Brady didn't talk to Vrabel during the 2020 saga.
I'm sure he did.
And we don't know, if Rodgers talked to Vrabel last spring when we were reporting that Rodgers was open to joining the Titans.
Ripping darts together, talking ball.
And I just don't know. Like, I think that those things would have been discussed. Like, look, dude, if you come here, like, you are one of 53. Because they can't have, no matter how good Aaron Rodgers is, they can't, the way that this system works, they can't elevate one guy over anybody else.
And he wants that.
Of course, they all have to be like Byard and Henry and Simmons. That's how they have to be.
But also, I look to so many of those guys that love Aaron. Love him.
Some of that might just be to avoid the bad side.
But also, I mean, like, I look at, David Bakhtiari. Like, they're bestie pops. Like, that's not some sort of just facade that he puts on so Aaron doesn't hate him.
I mean,
I'm not disagreeing.
You're probably right.
You that
You're probably right.
That there would have had to have been a massive attitude shift for Aaron Rodgers if he wanted to fit within the system. But I also go back to if you can get Aaron Rodgers, you get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but Mike Vrabel's not going to allow Aaron Rodgers to say, I think we need to play these guys less.
But don't you think
Could you imagine if Aaron Rodgers said that Cody Hollister and Jeff Swaim shouldn't play instead of Chig Okonkwo and Robert Woods?
But I also think, and this is completely my interpretation based in no fact whatsoever, I feel like Aaron Rodgers looks at Matt LaFleur like you are just like just a piece of dirt on my shoe. That
he thinks he's a bum.
He thinks he's a bum. I think Aaron has a certain respect for Mike Vrabel, that he wouldn't be walking all over like Vrabel like he is with LaFleur.
I would agree. But would Aaron be willing to do that? Like, would Aaron be willing to go somewhere where the coach is somebody who could punch him in the face? Whereas Matt LaFleur ain't punching Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I mean, Aaron being willing to come here is a different story than the Titans still wanting Aaron Rodgers.
So I think the Titans would have accepted Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron's making like $50 million this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Amy would have wanted to pay that or not, which is a whole nother discussion. But the Titans, I think the Titans would have been fine with Aaron if Aaron would have met the requirements of what it is to be on the Titans. And I think that is the sole Patriot way, which is as soon as Brady wanted special treatment, it got to be too much for Belichick. And then when Brady decided, no, I want special treatment, I want to have a say in the receivers, I want to have my snake oil salesman, guru, body coach, on the flights, I want to have everybody kiss my butt everywhere I go. It's like, okay, you got to go to Tampa. And now he's on a team that is incredibly disorganized. And it's driving Brady nuts.
Grass is not always greener.
That's what Brady wanted. That. And so with Aaron, this is what I think Aaron wanted in the end. And I do think Aaron probably did think about going somewhere else. All Aaron wanted was for the Green Bay Packers to get down on their knees and kiss his rings. That's all he wanted.
And he didn't like it when they didn't do that.
And so all you have to do, I want you all to get down, and I want you to bow in front of me, and I want you to give me the greatest contract ever, and I want you to say how great I am every day, and I want to walk all over you all the time. I'm the king, and you guys aren't. And I want you guys to admit it, and I want you to put it in writing, and I want you all those things, and everything else is secondary. I mean, Devontae Adams gets traded. Aaron's crying like a baby for 2 years. And then it's like, Aaron wants to go somewhere. Aaron wants the best chance to win. Aaron stays with the Packers. It's best chance to win. 2 weeks later, Devontae's traded. Aaron knew that was going to happen.
We understood that.
And so he went back?
But I don't think it's about winning with Aaron.
No.
I think if that comes along with it, then great. I think with Aaron, it's all about respect and what can you do for me?
Oh, I think so. Do you think Aaron regrets it? Do you think Aaron Rodgers regrets not picking the Titans this spring?
No, because he got paid.
Do you think if the Titans could do it again, like what we know now, and you take a time machine back to February, and Aaron Rodgers calls Vrabel and says, hey, let's rock a couple smokes here, and let's,
light up some Joes.
Let's talk this out. And Rodgers says, I want to be a Titan. And Rodgers is willing to do it the Titan way. Do you think the Titans would say, okay, we're dumping off Tannehill and we're taking Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Now
this defense with Aaron Rodgers, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Who are they going to throw the ball to? A.J. Brown. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Tannehill was asked about Rodgers. We'll get your thoughts in on this. Again, I just find it fascinating that Aaron goes back to Green Bay. Aaron gets his money. And boy, I think Aaron, I do know that. I do know Aaron looks across the sidelines and wishes he had the Titans coach and wishes he had the Titans defense and wishes he now Aaron Jones is a pretty good player, but I don't think he would mind to have
Derrick Henry.
Make of that what you will. 615-737-1025 is our phone number to text because I think our phones are down. I don't know. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with a shot!
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Ajax Turner Company. Middle Tennessee's Anheuser-Busch distributor is hiring full-time warehouse order pickers, forklift drivers, merchandisers, delivery, and more. Pay rates have increased, and new hires will now be eligible for a $500 sign-on bonus. This is more than seasonal work. This is a career with year-round stability and promotional opportunities. Go to ajaxturner.com/careers to apply or call 615-280-3904 for further details about open positions. Please remember to drink responsibly.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Being part of Cromwell Media, who owns this station, is a big deal because it's our people that make us what we are. So we're saluting Nicola Spencer and our sales department for 18 years of service. Ted and Holly Klimkowski have put in 12 years as our engineering and IT wizards. Willie Donick, midday host on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and voice of the Predators, celebrates 11 years this month. And Yvette Wright in sales passes the 1-year mark. We salute them all and invite you to join the team. Send us a note at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt football head coach Clark Lee. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What can you expect from the Mike Vrabel defense?
I mean, they're pretty sound. You know, they play really hard. They got like 29 sacks, 3 guys with 5+ sacks. They're number 1 in the league in third down, top 10 in the red zone. There's not a lot of big holes out there. They obviously, played good. Simmons is a baller, real good guys off the edge, solid inside at linebacker. The back end plays really well together. So it's a toughness that Mike brings, and the expectations I'm sure for them are really, really high. I keep in touch with Mike throughout the year, and they lost their first 2 games, and I think just like happens in this league, there's probably overreactions and what the hell's going on and what are we going to do, and I think they rattled off 5 or 6 wins in a row and kind of quieted everybody up. But they obviously have a really good football team, and Mike's a great coach.
Boy, I tell you, he's talking about, I think they have expectations over there. Did it kind of sound like when he said that about, I think they've got certain expectations over there. That's like, we don't have those expectations over here.
Like he was envious.
I mean, Troy Aikman, when he was with Dallas and they made the coaching switch from Jimmy Johnson to Barry Switzer, Troy hated it because he felt like he had to be the bad guy because Barry wouldn't hold anybody accountable. And that Jimmy was the guy who held everybody accountable when he was the coach. And Troy says that it took the fun out of him with the fact that he felt like he had to hold the team accountable and not the coach. And I think Rodgers, I certainly think Brady feels this way in Tampa Bay. Rodgers is like, gosh, I wish I had Mike Vrabel to hold everybody accountable here instead of Matt LaFleur, who I can walk all over whenever I want with my football cleats, and then he'll kiss them and clean them for me. 615-737-1025. Does Aaron Rodgers have regrets for not joining the Titans, with whom he will play tomorrow night with a 4-6 record? And the Titans are not favored to win, but a lot of people, Fitz thinks they're going to win. Chris Sanders thinks they're going to win. I guess we didn't ask TD, but I kind of got the vibe TD thinks they're going to win. I don't want to put words in TD's mouth.
Yeah.
What do we have in the text line? Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com.
Maddie texts in, says Rodgers to the Titans is better for both parties. We would have kept AJ and just whoa.
I mean, here's the thing about AJ Brown. It was a bad decision. No bones about it. But they're still good without him.
But are they good, or are they gonna win a bad division?
No, they're good. They just went to Kansas City and went toe-to-toe with that team with, again, not to be rude, I don't even think Malik's a backup. I don't think right now Malik Willis is the quality of a backup quarterback.
But, I mean, you have hesitations, and I know I do, hesitations, doubts, questions about the offense. How many of those questions, doubts, whatever, would be eased or answered if A.J. Brown was out there?
Did you have doubts about the offense last year with A.J. Brown on the team?
Yeah, because of Tannehill, not because of A.J. Brown.
So I'm not saying that they would be completely gone or the same as last year, but, I mean, they were still a bottom half of the league offensive team last year with A.J.
Because
Brown.
Ryan Tannehill was turning the football over at an alarming rate.
I know. But this is what I think. I think that they're probably the same as last year, except for they don't have A.J. Brown. I'm sure there's little things here where, Dennis Daly may not be as good as Taylor Lewan, and the defense is a little bit better maybe in other places. I don't know. But I think they're the exact same. I think everybody else, for the most part, has gotten worse. Even Buffalo, who I love. And I'm not willing to give up on Buffalo this year, and I don't think the Titans can beat Buffalo. Even Buffalo's having some problems.
Well, I mean, the teams that we expected to get worse have gotten worse. The teams that we expected to be good are bad.
I mean,
and some of the teams that we expected to get worse got even more worse than I expected, like Green Bay.
It's Tennessee. It's crazy. It's Tennessee, Kansas City, and Buffalo.
Just like last year.
And Buffalo's good at both, offense and defense. Kansas City's good at offense. Tennessee's good at defense. Just like last year. Now, with Aaron Rodgers, see, here's the other thing, too, that we need to be honest with ourselves about. Everybody thinks, now Aaron is certainly this quality of player, and Russell Wilson is not. But everybody seems to think that because it worked for the Buccaneers to get Tom Brady and go from average to the Super Bowl, and it worked for the Broncos to go from Tebow to Peyton Manning to the Super Bowl, and that the Rams won last year with Matthew Stafford, who honestly was more of a passenger to me than he was the driver of that vehicle. It's like, oh, everybody's got to get a new quarterback. Well, how are all the new quarterbacks working out this year? Because Russell stinks. Like, that has been an embarrassment.
Russell does stink.
And I wonder how much of it is adjustments. You know, I mean, it's hard to play quarterback in the NFL. It is a tough job. And I wonder how much of it is adjusting to new things. And Aaron would have to come in here. Now, the offense is similar because it's the offense that Matt LaFleur took to Green Bay. But I do wonder how much Aaron would have to adjust to things. And I do wonder how Aaron Rodgers would feel about shutting his mouth and not saying everything that he wants to say all the time, because he couldn't do that here. He could not go to the podium after a game and say that Todd Downing and Mike Vrabel need to play Jeff Swaim less. But he can say that about Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson and all those young receivers that he threw under the bus in Green Bay. But he can't do that here. So I do wonder what that adjustment period would have looked like. I mean, I'd still take it, but I do wonder what that would look like. What's next?
Ty texts in and says, if the Titans had Aaron Rodgers, then we wouldn't be questioning Todd Downing. Our offensive coordinator would be Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, I don't think Aaron's that cerebral of a player.
And I also don't think that Mike Vrabel would let a quarterback run things like that. Unless it was Tom Brady.
Also, I don't think Aaron watches a lot of film. I think Aaron has a great photogenic memory. And I think Aaron is basically Aaron's the kind of guy that you went to high school with who you can give the Cliff Notes to as he's walking into class, hand him back, and then get an A on the test. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how he is. He keeps talking about the Titans. He said the same things on the McAfee show that he said to the media. And it's like, they're number one in the red zone. They're number this. They're number that. They're this. They're this. He's like, defensively, they're top 10 red zone. They're actually 11th in the red zone. Now, does Aaron know that? Or did Aaron go into one meeting and they just say, hey, they're top 10 in the red zone, which they're not?
Probably so. That's probably how it happened.
So Aaron heard one thing. This idea that Aaron is, Peyton Manning with the film, I don't believe. I have it on good authority that Aaron Rodgers is not that dude.
But also, I mean, he's been pretty successful.
Think about it like
not
this.
Not being like that.
Peyton Manning Reggie Wayne went over to Peyton Manning's house one time to watch film. And Reggie Wayne was shocked that the film room at Peyton Manning's house was an exact replica of the film room at the Colts facility. And he was stunned by that.
That does not surprise me in the slightest.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't do that.
No.
Like I said, I have it on good authority that Aaron Rodgers doesn't watch a lot of film.
I mean, Phillip Rivers transforming a big RV into a film-watching vehicle is not something that Aaron Rodgers is going to do.
Although he just did that because he wanted to live in San Diego still.
But he still did it.
I know. Aaron probably would do that. Or, take a helicopter or, something ridiculous. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says if Tannehill had played against the Chiefs, then the Titans would have won.
I agree.
I feel like that. Right?
Skip
I mean,
Bayless
you go to
agrees.
overtime with the Chiefs with Malik Willis? Yes, if Tannehill was in.
Malik stinks, man. I mean, I think this is such roster malpractice to not have a better backup quarterback on this team. Even Brian Hoyer.
This is not the first case of roster malpractice on this team.
Oh, the Titans. I mean, I go back to Robinson. What's so crazy about this is, this dude has just made so many bad decisions over the years, and yet he's made so many good decisions, and they win so many games. And you can't be mad at somebody when all they do is win. You cannot be mad at them. So even though the Caleb Farley thing, we all said when it happened, you can't draft this guy that just had back surgery because backs don't get better. You've never met somebody in your entire life that has a bad back that it no longer has a bad back. It never happens. So if you have a bad back, you're always going to have a bad back. The question is, how bad's your back going to get? And so Farley's back's hurt again, but that's not even the biggest problem with Farley. The biggest problem is that he's
not very good.
Yeah. And it's like, how could you screw that up? But it matters because they keep winning. And they're going to keep winning. And they're drafting just enough players and signing, the 2020 draft, terrible, right? Like Fulton and everybody, Isaiah Wilson, Darrington Evans, those guys weren't very good. It was a bad draft. De'Aaron Tartt's like an $8 million player. And he's a non-drafted free agent. So they just keep, it's very frustrating. But yet, it's better than losing. 615-737-1025. We will get back to your wonderful phones. Plus, I have what I am considering the stat of the week for Thursday Night Football. And I'm very excited. We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Hey, by the way, on Friday, they are opening up a brand new Dunkin', and they want you at the brand new Dunkin'. And I think that you should go to the brand new Dunkin', where you can win Preds tickets at the brand new Dunkin'. And you're probably wondering, where is this brand new Dunkin' that I keep talking about? Come out to the grand opening of the new Dunkin' location in Mount Juliet this Friday morning. Enjoy free stuff. Plus, while you're there, register to win Preds tickets. That's the new Dunkin' location. Where is that, Jared? Here you go. 2234 North Mount Juliet Road this Friday morning.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman & Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Well, it's going to be another cold night for us with low temperatures falling to the low to mid-20s. Tomorrow we should be mostly sunny, but highs only go into the mid-40s. Friday through the weekend, we'll see mostly sunny skies with highs in the lower 40s. For Fox 17, I'm meteorologist Brett Luna.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is here this weekend. It's an extraordinary event with savings up to 35% store-wide. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day store-wide event. Acclaimed designers are here with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's this Friday, Saturday, and yes, even open Sunday for this incredible event. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
People of all ages can experience spine pain. What hurts the most is what it does to your life, making simple activities feel like an uphill battle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics and their team of specialists aim to get you back to your active and enjoyable life. Let Houston Clinic Orthopedics bring lasting relief if you're suffering from any of the following: spinal stenosis, herniated discs, sciatica, degenerative disc disease, and more. To experience world-class orthopedic care, visit tn.houston.com, where experience matters.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. They're designed for easy operation and feature performance-matched attachments. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus save up to $1,100. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor Company, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
Thank you for calling Navy Federal Credit Union. How can I help you?
Hi, if I'm in the Army, not in the Navy, am I still eligible for membership?
Yes, you are.
What about my sister in the Air Force?
Her too.
And my dad's a Marine.
We serve all branches of the military, veterans, and their families.
My dog is a retired military working dog.
I'll see what I can do.
Find out if you're eligible at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
Robbie Stanley.
It really doesn't matter until the pads come on and you have to hit each other, you have to block.
Joe Rexrode.
Reliable, go out and make some plays for you. Solid player.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Had a chance to know Aaron very well over the years, and if not, just as a player, you're impressed with how well he's been able to play and how well he's been able to play for so long?
Yeah, I don't know him well. Interacted a few times with him over the years. He's been very, very nice to me. Obviously, one of the best to ever do it. Amazing career. I don't know what year he's in right now, but a lot of them, and they've all been pretty good.
There you go. Hey, what do you know about Aaron Rodgers? I know, but, it's
a guy.
I don't really know much about, whatever. We're not really.
I didn't really expect them to be bestie pops.
We're not really buds. How much better do you think that Aaron Rodgers is than Ryan Tannehill?
Like, do you want me to put like a numerical thing on it?
On the 10 scale.
Like, if Ryan Tannehill is a 4.
You think Tannehill's a 4?
I'm just saying, if he's a 4, then Aaron Rodgers is like a 9.
Well, let's just do it on the scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the worst you can be.
Okay.
And 10 being the best you can be.
I would say Tannehill's like a 6.
Okay.
And I guess Aaron Rodgers is a 9.
Okay, so I would say that Aaron, is generally a 10, but they've had a bad year, so I'll drop him down to 9. And, Tannehill's probably like a 7. He's still like a top 15 quarterback in the league. He's just not great. And
yeah, he's a plain bagel.
Tannehill has not had a good season by any stretch of the imagination.
But Tannehill's had a Tannehill season.
So here's the stat of the week for this Thursday night football game.
Okay.
Quarterback rating is a metric, and this is not what I've made up, but this is what Google says, talking about quarterback ratings and what quarterback rating means. And so quarterback rating is a way in which passers are defined through performance. So it's a collection of different things, and then it all spits out one number that ranks quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers this season compared to Ryan Tannehill. Aaron Rodgers has completed 65% of his passes. Tannehill's completed 63% of his passes. Rodgers has thrown for 2,315 yards. Tannehill's thrown for 1,352 yards, so a difference of about 1,000. Rodgers has thrown for 17 touchdowns. Tannehill, 8. Rodgers has thrown 7 picks. Tannehill, 3. Rodgers has been sacked 20 times. Tannehill's been sacked 15 times. And Rodgers is averaging 6.9 yards per attempt. Tannehill, 7.4. And their quarterback rating, what spits all that out, which tells you how good they are, Aaron Rodgers is 93.0. Ryan Tannehill is 93.0.
Whoa.
So this season, in which Tannehill has not been, he hadn't been bad. One like last year.
He's been fine. He's been doing what he needs to do.
It wasn't like last year, where last year Tannehill was awful. And it's not like, the Joe Montana-like numbers that Tannehill put up when, when he was under Arthur Smith. But he and Aaron Rodgers, just according to their passer rating, which is only one metric, they are the exact same. So as we sit here and talk about, does Rodgers regret not coming to the Titans because they're not winning games and because the coach is a doofus? And would the Titans go back and do it and take Rodgers? And everybody that's texted in and has been like, can you imagine this defense with Aaron Rodgers on offense and what that would mean and what that would be? And not to say this is the end-all be-all of everything, but they're both 93.0. And you can't argue, well, they traded Devontae Adams, so Aaron doesn't have the receivers.
Well, Titans traded A.J. Brown.
Oh, I take the Packer receivers over the Titan receivers.
They're in an eerily similar situation.
They just don't have a doofus as a coach.
True.
But is that not wild? Because if you were to sit there and talk to Amy Adams Strunk about it, and you were to say, okay, you want me to pay $50 million extra, or basically $25 million extra and everything else that we'd have to spend money because the cap's fake, but the money is not fake in order to get Aaron Rodgers, and what that would mean for our team if Aaron Rodgers were have decided to come here in February. How many more wins would the Titans have? 1?
Maybe 1.
So 1 win.
1 or 2, because that Giants game probably is a win.
Is it, though? Tannehill played great. Aaron lost to the Giants.
A lot of quarterbacks lost to the Giants.
I know. But my point is like, Aaron, 93. You want me to make a $25 million commitment that might have me in the same place, which is crazy.
That is crazy. And I do, with that stat, Aaron Rodgers has thrown the football so much more than Tannehill has this season. And you say because they run the ball with Derrick Henry. Yes. But the keys to the game defensively are stop the run.
In terms of rushing?
That's what I'm looking up right now. They so far the Green Bay Packers as a team has rushed for about 1,300 yards.
So the Packers rush
on
as far
263 attempts.
Rushing yards per game, the Packers are 12th, the Titans are 9th.
So, that's kind of a negligible difference.
So they run the ball, and they traded away their only good receiver, and that's what the Titans have done. The difference is Rodgers has thrown 7 picks and Tannehill's thrown 3. That's why.
A 1,000-yard difference, though, between the two.
93.0. That's it for us. Smashville Live with Ellie Tolvanen and Kevin Lankinen is coming up next. Stillman and Company, big day tomorrow. One more sleep until Thursday Night Football. We will